Yo. Welcome, everybody. This is me, Socky, obviously, if you've heard my name before, or my voice. And welcome to the Sockycast with Dudeakoff. And me, obviously. I've got a guest too, but I will introduce him later first. Some words. I call it words. Thanks for coming, obviously. Yeah, we've been meaning to do one of these for a long time, obviously, and you know how it is with ideas. You have an idea, you want to try some things out, you want to, you talk about it, and like, you talk about it, you get the idea out, and then you get like all your motivation goes out the window the moment you shared like your excitement with everybody. But this time, finally, actually putting through. Asked River to draw this beautiful image. Turned out really nice. Thanks to River. Feel free to, I don't know if anybody has like Twitter. I don't know if he wants his Twitter account shared, but I'm going to show it anyway.
But yeah. A very soul quiet intro, but yes, I'm here as well. We'll probably like post out the art later because it's very nice. There's a lot of little soul references in various places. I'm sure you've seen the like Kagura doll in the corner and that kind of thing. Got the Seox mask, got everything there. It's all good.
The audience will see all the references if they look hard enough. But yeah.
Yeah, excuse my voice as well. It's a bit crusty because of a bad throat, but otherwise doing good so far. And yeah, we've got a guest. If you want to introduce him, Socky, go ahead.
Sure. I think he does not really need an introduction, I'll be honest. I think most people know who he is. But, speak up, Mr. Fitizen.
He said the line. He needs no introduction.
Lord
I'm the
Evo
first
champ,
guest. Who else could it be?
Aqua
Do not say that.
finalist.
Can't say that anymore.
You can say it. I can put online in brackets if you want.
Yes, you can put online brackets. But yeah, I mean, I like the change to Karnako because that's less. That was not as weird. But now that skill 1, I think that one doesn't work anymore. So I'm gonna have to see how it goes at the Arc World Tour. Maybe I can get that one.
That would be. Yeah, I mean that would be nice. For sure.
Alright, so what are you gonna do today?
Yeah, Socky, what are we doing in class today?
What's
the assignment?
In class? Like first rule of content creation is like you go for the lowest hanging fruit, and so that obviously has to be a tier list. And I mean, there's been multiple reasons for this too. I mean, obviously it's like like an easy thing to talk about, but also something I've been wanting to talk about because, and this is like a big reason, all the other regions have already posted their tier list. Like there's so many tier lists from other regions, from other players, content creators too, right? Japanese players, strong players, some weaker players, whatever, right? Point is, a lot of tier lists, a lot of discussion, and always, every time I see one, people post it, right? Let's see, like in the EU Discord or something, and then people start yapping about it. It's like, I can't believe they put whatever in X spot or whatever in Y spot. And every time I see this, I have to think about that, like, what is it, like the Usagi tweet, where it's like it's so funny seeing like, I don't want to like shoot at people, right? Like,
shoot,
point anybody out,
Dude,
but like, what
it's
is like
Sockycast. It's your thoughts that matter here. Say
what
it.
is like
really
somebody who's like,
gears.
like you don't even like, there's people that don't even like are willing to put their own opinion out to like, it's like, it's not easy to do that, right? Like, this, you gotta put it out and then you kind of gotta defend it and stuff. And like, these people aren't even willing to do that, but then they are willing to like point at like a thing they disagree with on fucking evil winner tier lists and be like, no, I think you are wrong. I know this game better than you. So yeah. I feel like you kind of owe it to the community, especially if you're like so willing to talk about this stuff, to put yourself out there, right? Your own thoughts, not just because again you're so willing to, interact with their thoughts and point out their mistakes, but not willing to share your own things.
Yeah, I also think that when it comes to people mentioning what they think about tier lists, very, very frequently, you have this kind of regression to the mean going on, where you have this kind of hive mind that changes a little bit from month to month, and how people feel about certain characters. And if your opinion strays from that hive mind, you're just going to be like, oh, this is wrong, And for example, for a while, it was really after Beatrix got nerfed. A lot of people were like, oh no, see, like she's not actually that good, and she dropped down a lot. And if you were someone, if at that time, if you made a tier list and you're like, no, actually I don't think the nerfs are that significant, and you put her higher, you'd have like a lot of people saying, oh, are you stupid? Didn't you hear she got nerfed? Don't you know how bad the nerfs are? And it's at a time where people don't really 100% know how that's going to affect things yet. And so you put your opinion out there the way you see it, and you get clowned by like people that just
pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it's because something happened. The nerf happened. That's like the fresh thing that happened, and you're like, what? Did you not hear about it? Like, they're trying to be up to date, and it's not really cool to be outside the box in that sense. But I mean, we're going to talk about that as well, right? Where it's a matter of starting a healthy conversation, and it's more interesting to me when some Japanese player posts a tier list, and I respect his opinion, let's say, then I'm more interested in why they put this one character I think is really strong in mid tier than that he's in mid tier. Like, it doesn't matter that much where the character is. It's more interesting to think about, like, how do you see the game that you would put this character mid tier, right? And I think we're going to try to do something similar today, where we're trying to not just make a list, but also convey why we're making it the way we're making it.
Yeah, and I think EU has kind of like that for sure, considering, again, like I said, I've already seen a bunch of lists come from all the other regions, but nobody in the EU has really like put one out so far, at least on Twitter, like a big enough one that people agree on. There were a couple of matchup charts, but it's not quite the same. So yeah, I figured would make sense, as at least before the patch comes out. No, patch notes dropping tonight, so we are kind of we had
right on
the last
of
minute.
things.
Yeah, we have to do it now before it's too late.
It's been so busy, right?
Anymore.
Like, first I wanted to do it before Kana Cup and Outplay it, but then I ended up being so busy for that. And now, like, a couple days before the patch. But still works out, we don't know the patch notes yet, so...
Yeah, in summary, why don't all these critics make their own movies? We're here creating our own movie, aka our own tier lists. But yeah, I mean, the point you're making about the Japanese players as well, I think like a lot of Japanese tier lists do end up getting dismissed kind of out of hand, because it's like, oh, their tier lists are just based on who's doing well at the time. Like, we're completely infallible to that type of thing. And you just talk about the hive mind as well, and like, we're all susceptible to the hive mind. Like, not all of us have like a perfect understanding of every single matchup in this game. So we do like kind of follow the pack on a few things. I don't think anyone like isn't aware of that's here, but we try and spice things up a bit.
I think we talk about it a lot, where it's like, especially if you have like if you don't have the character in your region being represented by anybody, like, what do you fucking know about the, like, whether Zoe is better than Gran or some shit? You know what I mean? But yeah,
I think this is going to come up as well as we talk about it. It's like, oh, this character went up in opinion. It's like, cool, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, I think without further ado, let's get right into it.
All right. Who shall I do first?
I don't know. I gotta like look at the screen. Hold up.
Who's gonna get laughed at by chat first?
Nobody.
Oh well, what I would like to start with is just a short, really boring preamble on like what tier lists really are and what they're supposed to convey.
What does it mean?
I've got to keep it short.
Yeah,
what does it all mean? What's the deal with tier lists? What's the deal? I think there are three types of tier lists. I mean, there's probably more or less, whatever, depending on how you define it. But I define it as three. And I think the first one is the most common one that people make. It's just how strong is the character? What does that even mean, right? But it's the perceived strength of a character, and people rate them based on that. And I would say most of the time, that's kind of how strong the peak game states are that a character puts you in regularly. So if you're thinking someone like Grimnir, Grimnir very frequently puts you in the situation where there are seals on the screen and he does whatever the fuck he wants. And so people rate that as like very strong, you know, because it's consistent, it's always there in your face. Same with like Beatrix, you know. Beatrix, her strongest thing is her rewards, and that is something that is always present, right? Like anytime she fire H's you, anytime she 6Ls you, like she can go into that reward, especially with Clock. And so that is something that people rate highly. The issue with that is that weaknesses are often glossed over because emotionally you're just focused on the shitty, you know, broken stuff that happens to you. This is not foreshadowing, but just as an example, right? Like people get more upset of Cat 5U and Lucy Blade level 5 because when they BC and the 5U hits them, they explode. And when Lucy hits them, like they don't think about Lucy as a character that starts off weaker and gets stronger. They think about, like, when you think of Lucy, the first thing you think of is fuck Blade level 5. And, you know, true, but that's the first thing your mind goes to. And so I think those kind of peer lists where it's like what perceived strength, they're useful to start a discussion, but I'm not a big fan of them because they don't say that much. The second kind is matchup spread tier lists, which that's how tier lists started, and that's not really, I mean, people don't really do those anymore, where they count up every matchup and then rate them the characters on a list based on that. And I also disagree with them being very useful because low tier matchups matter less than high tier ones. So, you know, the difference between beating Belial 6-4 and going 5-5 is not the same as beating Lodiva 8-2 or 7-3. And so I think, you know, just counting them up and then rating them in a list doesn't really make sense to me. So the one I like the most, and the one that I try to do when I talk about this stuff, is like a meta tier list. And it's viability if you want to win a tournament at a high level. At high levels, matchups play out differently. Tools that are overbearing in intermediate level play could be much weaker in that setting. So for example, I think good example is Seahawk's Wall Dive. Like EX Wall Dive, in like mid-level play, obnoxious move, very strong. You get in, it's plus, you know, zoners struggle heavily against it. But then at top level play, that kind of move falls off because your opponent chooses the right answer to it reactively, consistently, or like often at least. Or something like Fairy Whip as well, I think, you know. If you can't roll Fairy Whip ever and punish it, that move is really good. But as soon as your opponent, you know, knows what to do against it and has like good reactions to that move, the move gets a lot worse. And so, you know, like accounting for, I think that's also where the disconnect comes from with like the hive mind sometimes and people making lists that are more targeted at their meta. Because if a character, you know, if you're playing a zoner and your meta is full of Beatrix and Lucy, you're not going to have a good time. It doesn't matter how good that character is against other characters. And so, yeah, I think this meta list is what I like the most and what I try to go for. And I think it's also what we're going to gravitate towards today.
Yeah. I think we obviously all don't have like the same necessary opinion, right? Like there will be some differences in opinion, but
much nuance.
I figured it would be probably more interesting seeing like, you know, like let's say what is the one tier list we could all agree on, just because we're not all experts, or like we're not experts on every fucking character, right? So I feel like it makes more sense bouncing off each other, and it's also more interesting too, right, to see that being represented. So,
yeah, we can make some concessions, of course, you know. It's not that serious. Like, I'm not going to cry if the character I think is 7th ends up 5th or something, you know.
I am.
Hot take.
I always have correct opinions, so if you disagree with me, that's clearly wrong.
That's true, that's true.
Well, yeah, I'll move on to the actual tier lists themselves. Everyone pre-made them. We're not going to have, like, a graph up where everyone, like, does one at a time and they can do the funny mouse thing where they, like, hover between two different tiers and which one is it going to go in, all that kind of thing. I think we'll start with the headline act, which is Socky. The Socky podcast will have the Socky tier list first because everyone wants to see the Socky tier list.
No,
He's an
don't
Alcohol
know.
Tour finalist, so if you disagree with him, you're wrong. He's better at the game than you. Same for Fitizen. When it comes to my tier list, you can have a go whenever you want. I've done nothing, it's fine. But these two, you gotta respect these tier lists. So I'm gonna switch over to them now.
Oh, mine isn't ordered, by the way. I'll say that.
Ah, coward.
I just threw it together. We're making
Yeah.
the real one together.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to remove the Great River art to do this. We're just gonna look at a boring ass Firefox browser now. So here we go. Here's Socky's. If Socky wants to go over it, try and.
No, I do not want to go over it. I mean, the I think Dudeakoff is misunderstood something. We're just gonna make our own one. You know, like these. I just made this. Just.
As a
so
prelim thing?
we
Oh, I was asking you
Yeah,
beforehand. Alright, fine. We'll go to this fucking chibi
explained
tier
it.
maker.
Yeah,
thing
let's
that you
let's
said
get
was-
straight to the real one,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I would've put
everyone's
in more
seen
thought.
Socky's opinions have been spoiled.
They don't even my opinions. I stole them from Discord. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
joking. I made them. Like I made them in 2 minutes.
Okay. I mean, like Fizz and Sen is over at the end when I was asking about them, so that's why
I
was doing
literally just threw it together. I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it enough to
that.
put the mark on
Well,
it.
we got these chibi avatar ones then. The
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
There's an upside down Belial, so that means Belial's like bottom tier now.
That means
Yeah.
he's at the ceiling, obviously.
Yeah, no, that he's looking down on everyone, you know.
So high up, yeah. Like the
But it's
camera
like
can't
the
look at
ceiling
him.
cat meme. He's like in the tier of his own, looking
Yeah.
down.
He's watching you.
Unironically, not even a joke.
What?
But yeah, I
Spoilers.
figured we can start with the characters in order,
Yes.
so that's more interesting than if we go like, oh, this is the highest character, and then we just go down. Like we just start like, let's say with Gran, and then we like adjust as time goes on. Obviously, we have a time limit. The weekly start at 7 p.m. and we are gonna try to stop before then, so we can get you guys over there. I don't want to steal.
Alright, you better not
Steal the
yap
show.
about Gran for long like we did in the Rose stream last time.
So are we gonna have these 5 tiers? Do we want more? Are we gonna add ones as needed? Like what's the deal with that?
That's definitely a good question.
Yeah, I could have done this beforehand maybe. So when I did my tier list, which was like a preliminary one, what I did was like top 3 characters, then really strong characters, and really strong characters with specific matchup weaknesses, and then kind of went down from there. So like, if you were a consistent character that didn't really have many bad matchups, but like we didn't have any good ones either, then you'd be above someone who was like a decent character that had like specific matchup weaknesses, even if they had like specific matchup strengths elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that's complicated, and doing the letter thing's easy. So we could have more tiers. We could. I mean, I think you can just add them as you go along if you want.
As we go, it's probably a good idea.
Trying to do it as a starting point is kind of a pain.
Yeah. All right. So we can open it up if as needed, right? So
Yep.
That's Gran.
Technically,
Yeah, I would ignore the numbers.
Is is punishable.
I would just put him in C right now, but like, can you like maybe remove the numbers? Is that possible? They're just like empty boxes, so people don't get like people are gonna like start screenshotting when
This
they see
is
like character and C
F
tier.
tier Gran. Please screenshot right now. Actually, this is S tier Gran. There you go. There's
Yeah.
that one. All right, make of it as you wish.
Put it on Twitter.com. The everything app.
There's colors though. Do we have to make all the
Oh,
colors
but
the same?
Gran definitely. I mean, he's over the the span of the game. He's definitely gotten like a couple buffs. I think the most recent one was the U fireball wall bounce, right? Which is definitely a nice thing to have. Like that's something we see more. I mean, we've seen it before as well, but like now we're only also seeing it like on Siegfried, for example, right? And it's definitely something that people have been doing more and more, where like they're in the corner, near the corner, and instead of like even messing with their opponent's buttons, like without even worrying about dealing with their 6XLs.
Yeah.
And using the slowdown to good effect to just like, I throw it out. Worst case, I get some meter back. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think characters like him are hard to rate. I'm not gonna go on a huge tangent, but it's difficult because it's the old, why pick him if there's someone else that does it better, and you rarely see the most talented players on that character. Like the biggest tryhards. you know, like how would Koji Koko do if he picked Gran? I don't know, you know, and so it's a little difficult to rate characters. Of course, players matter too, always. So I think I would put him in B tier. I'm a bit nicer. I would put him like more at the bottom of B than the top of C, but you know, in the end, it's kind of similar anyway.
Yeah, we could.
So,
I wonder if we
I
could like do like a. We could do like a mid tier and then power crept. Put him in the mid tier power crept tier.
yeah, so I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to have like for the mid tier, just have like 2 big ones, and you can order within those. But it's basically characters that are not clearly bad, and there's not characters that are clearly good, and differentiate them between like consistent and inconsistent or volatile, you know. I don't know what you want to call it, but I think
we
you
can
know
call
it's
it
what he
mid-tier
mean by
bad,
that is going to
mid-tier
become
good.
clear. Well,
Yeah,
I think the volatile one. The thing is, if you're gonna play a mid tier, I do think it's better to play the volatile ones, you know, because at least you're not just playing like bad Cat or bad Belial or something.
Yeah, I would use volatile instead of inconsistent. That's probably the better word.
Yeah, because I think it depends on the matchup if they're consistent or not.
Yeah, and they can be both the same color or something since they're like technically the same tier. Then so people don't think like one is better than the other. But yeah. Gran definitely more of a consistent one in that regard, right? Shoto, he has the tools. He just struggles a little bit like converting all of the 6XLs, right? Like he has like a notably bad far light, right? Which makes this like, and like his 2M is like a good button in a void, but the range of it is a bit poor.
Yeah.
So what happens a lot of the time, he connects the 6XL like at spaced, and there's like not much he can do with that. Like he can go into far medium, but then like what is the threat there? There's not really much. And at that point, it's like, you know, you can hope for the hits, but I feel like, you know, people can. It's like similar to a. I would even say like Vazaraga in the sense where it's like, at least on a concept level, where it's like, you know where to look for with his threats, right? And with Vazaraga, it's like a lot harder because like you get meter so much, right? And compared to Gran, but like with Gran, it's like this is the boot spacing. Right, this is the boot spacing.
Yeah. As soon as he's in the boot
corner,
spacing, you know, you look for the boots, and then
if he has meter and you're in the corner, you don't do shit. If you fireball is coming and stuff all like that, right? Where it's like you just know what to look for, right? Like you know that like if they press on defense, it's always going to be the sweep, right? Stuff like that, and like space, there's not much you have to worry about. You know, and if you can like play into that, then you know it just
yeah. I mean,
hard.
I agree with that. I think sorry.
Yeah, is there a specific reason to play Gran over other characters, do you think? Do you think he does anything better, or is it a combination of things that are different enough to perhaps make him more of an option?
I think Belial takes his design space too much. If you look at him, you know, it's like you have the plus on block medium. His is even a low. It's a fire, you know, like fireball pressure reset. Good mid-screen damage, or like, you know, depending on the situation, good mid-screen damage, very good corner damage, fast, you know, good 6XL. Like if you look at all of those things and add them up, it's like I think Belial is the one that really hurts Gran. If Belial didn't exist, I don't think there's a character that plays quite like him, you know, but I think Belial is too good, and it's too obviously good and similar to Gran.
No, I think that makes sense. Like, it also plays out in reality as well in regard to, like, him never being in the free rotation of his own volition, as in, like, he didn't come, like, top 3 of any, like, majors that got called out on Twitter, and I think there's a good reason for that in that players who want to play that style would gravitate towards a different character, even though he's probably, like, really solid, and if those characters didn't exist above him, like Belial, for example, there'd be a lot more Gran players knocking around.
I do think that's also like the design decision of the team too, right? It's like this character you feel your footing.
I don't know, like Gran's not like I feel like an Anila or someone like that kind of fits that. So maybe in like the original Gran Blue.
But even here, I feel like I don't think they're like all too different, the two characters.
Yeah.
That being said, Virm definitely makes a good point in chat mentioning that, you know, his matchup spread definitely probably pretty stable, right? And like I said,
That's why I
the
put it
thing with
consistent.
yeah, that's the thing with the mid tiers, right? There's like a lot of these characters where like, oh, the matchup spread is not too bad, but if you like lose slightly with most of the cast, or even that has never been rated highly in this game.
No.
That being said,
any
let's
game,
move to Jito. Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jito.
Yeah, that was the most anyone's talked about Granny in like years, so we'll move on to the other protagonists now. So
Yeah.
Jita, the former goat, the former up here, along with Percival and Blyle. Where is she at right now?
You've played her, so you make the move.
Yeah, so first of all, I think she's definitely a lot more fun than Gran. I really like playing her. I would enjoy a meta in which I can play her a lot. I think right now she's like the mid-tier consistent. She's clearly better than Gran in my opinion, so it's kind of weird to put them in the same tier. But I also wouldn't put her higher, assuming we only have 2 higher tiers. I couldn't put her higher right now. But I think she's better than Gran.
We definitely ordered the tiers too, right? So
yeah, she's
she
also
might just be all the way on the left.
Yeah, and she's even more consistent than Gran. I think, you know, like the tools she has. The main thing she lacks is like against zoners or something. She doesn't have like the U skill that just goes through everything, right? But I think that's the main thing she lacks. But then even with the nerf, MDP is still really good and can be really good at like catching special cancels. I think her damage is lacking now mid-screen, especially mid-screen. And as ZK always likes to say in our community, you know, our resident Jita main, always, you know, like the most vocal one. Akama is the one representing her at the highest level, but ZK always like talks a lot about her combos and stuff, and her damage is low on like non-optimal hits. So, you know, if she gets a close heavy counter hit, which she is definitely able to get, she has a very good frame trap game, she still can do a lot of damage in the corner. But if you're talking about like 2L far light kind of stuff, you know, there's a lot of characters that do more than her. And so yeah, I think because of that, I couldn't put her higher than this. I do think though there's certain things in this game that are just good, and she has them. You know, being able to like being fast, 7th frame, nice reaching to M. Her far light is also, you know, it's one of those that goes up high, but it's like it's still good to punish stuff. It has nice range. 5U got buffed and is definitely usable now. You know, it's not like this option that you were just being funny for using in the past. She still has like really consistent anti-air damage, insane anti-air game in a lot of spaces, right? Like close heavy just hits everywhere. If you're trying to jump out of the corner, super jump out of the corner, like she takes 2 steps, like Vera, she just takes 2 steps and close heavies you. And in those spots, she can still get a lot of damage. So, oh, also, last and the most important thing, I think, her SBA in SSBA mode, like when she is at, you know, when she's at SSBA levels of health, below 30%, right? She gets access to a better version of her SBA. That super is still one of the best supers in the game.
Yeah.
So that's very, very strong.
Did you mention your ultimate skills as well? Because I think 2-4U is definitely also really strong still.
Yeah, 2-1-4U and 2-3-6U. I mean, a lot of characters are using 2-3-6U the way Gamera used it at the start, where you're like, the use skill slowdown is like fucking with your defensive timing. So you go like run up, your opponent's in the corner, and you go like take a step forward with 3-6U. They press like anything at any delay timing, and they get counter hit into a bunch of damage. And other characters can do that too, but she is one of the best at doing that still. You know, so
she's also fast. I think being fast in this game's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Granny's as well, to be fair, but
yeah.
In terms
I think she can use it. Yeah, I think she can use it better. I think her buttons like are better for like this kind of stagger pressure. Well, I mean like this extended stagger pressure where you're like far away, or like at the mid range, and you're like trying to go like micro dash far medium or something. Like she can do that better than Gran. Yeah. So I like her. Yeah. I like her. I would like to play her. Go buff her.
I think just seeing her there right now, I think we'll definitely be adding more tiers soon, but let's just continue.
Yeah, we can always go back afterwards. It's fine. We're just doing a big thing at the moment. Anyway, why is a cat not top tier, Socky?
Cat is absolutely top tier. Very strong character, arguably top 3 in the game. Top 5 maybe if you want to argue. But But I mean, she's just a very strong character. I mean, probably one of the best matchup spreads. I mean, there's some people that will argue that like she can struggle a little bit with the zoners, and like it's definitely not as easy as like some other character. The best, sure. Definitely not as easy as like, let's say you will, if you compare it to like Lucilius or Belial, you will definitely like struggle more with zoners than these two. But that doesn't mean that she isn't just very, very consistent, very strong. I mean, so much reward out of everything. Like the tools she has in the current game, really, what's the word? They they shut down so much of the funny stuff that a lot of characters want to do, right? Just like certain cancel options, and like the reward she gets off it's insane. Like whether it's like you fight Vast, he tackles into your into your light wall, or Kek special cancels, spear into light wall, they die. They just explode, and the reward you get off of everything is absurd. I definitely, and like maybe this can go into the topic too, like that we have. Right, not just tier lists, but character strengths and their toolkits. Because I feel like it's definitely helped. I mean, one of the reasons why I picked her, right, is the reward, right? Because coming from Nier, right, where like you get rewarded a lot for being right in certain situations, like a Nabara 2M or just setting a 6XL or something, no matter where it is on the screen, and in a game. Yeah. In a game that can be pretty volatile, or where every hit can just kill you, having that consistency, I mean, it helps so much. Right, like it's like if you play these characters for a while, and like I played Charlotte too, right? And Terror reward is definitely very high as well. So I can't really going back on a different character. It's a bit hard in that regard because it can feel like an uphill battle, right? But obviously, if you're trying to win, you want to be in a position where the least like you can like turn it around in a couple hits.
I think something we're gonna see on most, if not all, of the top tiers is they have two traits that I value very highly. The first one is they normalize the opponent's game plan a lot. So what I mean by that is there are not a lot of situations you can be put into with Cat where pressing light wall or pressing 2M beats what your opponent's doing, right? Like, or 6XL, let's say, as well. So it's like where other characters need to do all these different things to deal with your opponent. It's like you're playing against Charlotta, and it's, well, if you press 2M or far H or 6XL or 5U, you're probably winning whatever is like she's gonna do. Where other characters they don't have the same kind of like, they need to use more of their tool set in different spacings to get the same result, right? And I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, as you said, the reward, because we're talking about a game that is highly paced, which makes it harder to make conscious decisions. If you're pressing 20 buttons a minute or more, or like just like a bunch of actions per minute, you don't have the luxury to make every single button press conscious. And so your opponent can pick up on something that you're doing and then punish you for it heavily. If the game was slower paced, that would be less of a concern, I think, and less, like, not quite as important. But
if you play a character that has to do like so much more, right? Like has to do like a million inputs at once, you are like more susceptible to autopilot into something and then just explode.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she is like the opposite of that. Like she is the one that will make you explode for autopiloting into something common.
Yeah, exactly.
This character's crazy.
I think once the list is done, we can like talk about ordering. So for now,
you can do comparisons afterwards. It's just general vibes. I don't know. We can go through it a bit quicker and then like do more like in-depth stuff later. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably the best idea rather than
next.
doing soliloquies on every character. Anyway, another Socky character. We got Charlotte. This is a character Socky will be playing in Actor Finals. So it's an interesting.
We want to be faster, but I do think you should yap a bit about her because you care so much about the character.
Yeah, if it's specifically your character, go for it.
There's like, the thing is, I feel like you want like two tiers, like the upper tiers. You want to keep those for like the top 15 in the game essentially, and like she would be like right below it. She's definitely not volatile, right? Like feel free to like add another one. She's definitely not volatile, but she's also like I mean, her consistence, like she's at the end of the day, like she's so funny to me because like you look at her, like when the game came out, like without like a 6XL brain that we haven't, like my brain wasn't 6XL developed by that time when the game came out, and like looking at it, I was like, man, this character sucks. Right? Like all the things she struggled with in base game, it's like amplified here. It's like, so what did she struggle with? It's like people anti-airing, right? Like, so people got better anti-air conversions with Raging Strike, and then like her knockdowns, right? She like relied so much on like getting a hard knockdown on EXDP or like wall, and then getting a game start so she gets in, and then like they remove all the hard knockdowns. It's like, how do you play this character in a game like that seems like so antagonistic, right?
So
and then
talk about fuzzy jumping.
Yeah, fuzzy jumping too. Like they make throws faster, right? So
Fuzzy
it's like
jumping.
it's even harder to punish throw attempts with this fuzzy jump. And then on top of that, everybody glues to you like glue. With the way 6XL pressure works, right? Like everybody's constantly like I have to do a button and then 6XL, button 6XL, and like it's like space pressure. So it's like awkward to fuzzy jump in those because they're always at a distance where like if you can't like jump over them, right? So it's like there's so many things that shouldn't be working in a favor, but then they offset that by A, 6XL being in the game, and B, ridiculous reward, which that's never been a big fan of. When they balance. I mean, I like when they balance characters where it's like, oh, they have some strengths and some weaknesses, but she already was that, right? She already was like a little volatile in that sense, but they like amplified that even more, where it's like, you don't really get good Oki and shit. Anti-airing is even harder, right? Like you get an EXDP anti, it doesn't matter. Like you don't get Oki from that stuff, right? Back then, that's like, oh, you don't do much damage with an anti-air, but if you hit that EXDP, it's go time, right? Like that's gone. But like now it's like, instead of making like her anti-airs better or something, they're like, no, let's say she gets more reward on hit, right? Like let's say when that 2-hit H does hit, it's still like super slow, but if it does hit, your opponent explodes. Right, and just like doing that. So like the way she is right now, it's like you think like on paper she should be like losing neutral as characters, but then her 6XL is so insane, and she forces the opponent constantly to be spending resources on her, whether it's like to like do a DP or spend a BP, and then you hit her twice, and she's you won, right? Like you get one hit, put them in the corner, next hit kills, right? And it's like it doesn't matter where you hit them, because she will always use 6XL, because why should she press anything else? And if that 6XL hits, she does the full corner combo, right? No matter how much meter she has, she will always build enough for 2 to you, right? Extend the 2 to you, put you in the corner, like from all the way from one screen to the other. It always does like 40%, and then the next hit will kill, right? So it's like she is, for some reason, super consistent because of that. I mean, not for some reasons, like it shouldn't be, like you look at the design of the character and she shouldn't be consistent, but she just is, because 2 hits and you die, just because of the way 6XL works and the way the damage is in this game, the risk reward. Like fighting her, unironically, there's not a lot of characters where it feels like when you fight them, it's like you're constantly like, it's a constant uphill battle, but like some of them are like Vazaraga, because he has so much health, or like Saurus, because also he has so much health. Right, and then he gets so much of hits, whatever. But like, Charlotta's also there, despite not having extra health. Like,
Yeah.
I never fought a Charlotta, and it felt like, it feels like you're winning, right? Because you're never winning against her.
No,
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. From the side of playing against her, it feels like you're losing until you won.
Yep.
Like even if you're playing a good matchup, I mean, I play Secret, like Secret beats her, but it still feels like I'm just one mistake away from dying. And obviously it's not that simple. Obviously there's more going on than that, but you got to be like on your toes at all times. And I
Mini
think
Vazaraga.
I mean if you think about it for a moment, like what 6XL means, I'm not gonna rant about 6XL,
What does 6XL mean?
but it's
Save it
a
for another
9-frame. I mean, it's a 9-frame move with like Charlotta's range on it and her like ability to convert off of it. It's a 9-frame move that you could do at any time during your opponent's pressure, right? Like they wait for a moment, 6XL. They leave a gap that's too big, 6XL. They keep it tight, you block the minus button 6XL. So like if you start thinking about it that way, and what it means to have a good 6XL and to get good reward off of it on block and on hit, because she gets good pressure on block and she gets good reward on hit, and a lot of characters, even good ones, only get one of those two, right? It starts making sense, because I agree with you. Like all her specials are so much worse than they were in base game. Like for how this game works, you know.
Yeah, she like gets in, she goes into a plus on block skill that does good chip damage, and you BC frame 1. She doesn't get the BC, she doesn't get the pressure, she gets hard knocked down, side switch her ass. It's like, but like, the grand scheme of things, whatever, right? Like she will get there again, and then next time you only have 2 BP left.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like round based gameplay.
Yeah, it's like I've gone like so much back and forth on like whether like
really
forcing the BP out with 2 and 4 is like a good thing or not. It's like, it's so silly. But like, again, what does it matter? If you are a good player, you know you can play the long game, right, when you play her, and you know that like you can always win.
They're gonna run out, yeah.
If they run out, you need 1 hit. And like if they don't run out, you need 1 hit. Like you can just play the long game. That's why I said it's like, it feels like you're playing like a tank, which I definitely felt like that way in the old game a little bit as well, but like the old game was definitely like more like turtling in the old game definitely made more sense, right? Like playing that defensive game.
It's not that easy to get in the old game.
Yeah, like here it's different, but even then it's like if your opponent is willing to scrap with you, I mean with Charlotta, you are gaming if that happens. Right. Like that is not the fight I want to do.
And then they run in and throw and you do the funny fuzzy jump and you win the game. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, looking at it now, seeing Jita below Charlotta does seem wrong to me, but we should go back like at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Charlotta tier. I think you can put Jita next to Charlotta and call the tier like it's like over the mids, whatever.
Good tier.
Anyway, Lancelot.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, put it next to her.
Lancelot. Yeah, this is a fun one. No one plays this character anymore in EU. We have a few like representatives that come here and there. A lot of Lance
I don't
players.
have a strong opinion.
I think Lance is really good. Like I still think Lance is really good. When I look at his toolkit in comparison to other rushdown characters, it's similar reward, can build the meter still, isn't like super over relying on like the stuff that was making him top tier in the previous patch. The specific changes to him I don't think are as like bad as they're made out to be as well. It's just that we don't really have the representatives to prove that in EU. There's been some flirtations, there's been a few people who like are Lancelot mains but like play a bit more casually or like more intermediate level and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think
it's definitely one of those areas where it's sort of like people are probably going to be following the pack in EU when it comes to Lancelot in terms of where to put him on the tier list and playing it safe by maybe putting him here. Like, I think there's possibility for him to be like higher up in this sort of range. There's also a possibility even to be lower given that he's lower health and like his I don't know, like in terms of his like rushdown, like a lot of people are very over reliant on the 5U that do play him, even like the good players, and that does not feel like a consistent like winning strategy at the highest level.
Yeah.
I think he gets underrated a lot because like, you know, he used to be better, then he got nerfed, and we're playing a game where like, and it will come up with the other characters as well, it's like there's so many very simple characters with a very simple game plan, very strong, and they're very simple and very strong and like easy to get into, right? And like Lancelot, I don't think he necessarily falls into that pack, but even though he has some like very simple tools, it's easy to like get lost with him in the source. I feel like oh, I gotta do like record pressure or you know use whatever like, sweep or something, and like people get lost there, and like that's why like he feels like too much effort for where he is right now. I think that's like why he's like falling off, or like why people don't want to play him anymore.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, you know, what we value in a tier list and what like where the differences are, I would definitely put him lower than this, because I value, like, you know, we talked about this earlier, like tournament viability, whatever. I think on Lancelot, a character that in a lot of his hits are not high damage, but his pressure is very good. His good hits are high damage. His a lot of his hits are low damage initially, right? Like just hitting you with wreck or something. And he's 15k health. And because of that, like I'm thinking that to me is what mid-tier volatile is made for. Not volatile in terms of the matchups. Like understand the matchup spread. It's not like he, has like really good matchups and really bad matchups, but volatile in terms of the game plan. And I can see that he's underrated because he used to be better. And I'm fine saying, he's still quite good. But then I'm looking at Charlotte and Jita. I think they're clearly better to me, But
yeah, I can see that.
It's also about what I personally value in a character. So
it doesn't help that he's not very represented, right? So
I mean, I'm more afraid. See, putting him in mid-tier volatile and mid-tier like the volatile consistent dichotomy. It's like, when you're like, I see this a lot. Sorry for the tangent, but I see this a lot in like Arsenal and Ash's tier list in Tekken, right? The best players and Street Fighter players too. When it comes to rating mid-tier characters, the best players rate characters higher that they can lose to. Like if like I don't know what the meta is in Street Fighter right now, but just as an example, right? Like if you're playing against a grappler, you're more afraid of that in bracket than playing against a Shoto that's mid-tier. If you're the top player, because you're trying to win consistently, you can beat the mid-tier Shoto that you're playing against, but you're more afraid of the weird character. And I think that's Lance as well, where like I would much rather play against Grand than Lance, so putting them in the same power level is weird. But I still think he belongs there, because if I'm thinking about who I would want to main, like it's kind of the same to me. It's like, you'd rather not play a character that has 50k health and needs like specific hits and needs to like reaction check the opponent. Even though those reaction checks are hard, like he can sneak in an H fireball and go off on anyone in the world. Like any level of play, H fireball is a good move. But if your opponent is ready, you're getting supered. And like that's not the kind of playstyle I want to rely on.
Yeah,
I mean, my big thing with Lancelot is like, what is the difference between him like pre-patch when he was considered very good and like he obviously won Actor last time, and the Lancelot that we have now? I'd say like the biggest things like the 1.52 patch, and when you go over those patch changes, a lot of the times like the biggest things are losing 1k health and probably, I mean,
close everything, right?
Yeah, the increased recovery on his standing light. So, I mean, yeah, it was increased recovery, that was it. And, like, I don't think that changes, like, massively his core game plan enough for him to be, like, significantly worse than he was before. But I can't say for sure, because I obviously don't have experience with it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean,
that's my, like, rant on that. You can, follow up on that and then we'll move on to Percival.
Yeah, I think all of us are, like, kind of vibing. When it comes to Lance here, like it's vibes.
Yeah, I think he can be between either like the mid-tier volatile or like the better character. I'm good with both. Okay. Like, I think the scripture definitely fits, especially if like, spoiler alert, if Eustace ends up being in the mid-tier volatile, then I think Lance goes there as well.
All right. Vera and where we're putting in Percival.
Are you asking
quickly type? I mean, he's the only one who knows, so.
He goes into slightly above Charlotte tier.
I think so too.
That is literally the Percival tier. I remember that one tier list, I forgot who made it. Like,
even Verum agrees. What the hell?
All the top 10 are like in the top, and then there's like one tier below, and it's literally just Percival.
This is the guy like is the big mystery, and it's like there's one player on the planet who's doing well with him and is doing shit with him, and like everyone's like, oh, he's not top tier, but like you gotta respect that.
Yeah. I also like someone I trust. In his opinion, is Coco, and I remember him saying once, like, he had like a little chat conversation with someone, and he was like saying like, "Oh, Toro's not the only Percy," and I mean he was in Japan, so I trust him. So he thinks very highly of Percy, and if he says that there are other people that he played against that make him feel strong as well, I'll trust him on that. I can see the vision, obviously. I mean, we're talking about consistency. Flame Carpet is 236U is one of the most consistent tools in the game. Like it almost doesn't care what situation you're in outside of literally like waking up or blocking. It's good, like it's viable to do it.
Percy bro wheel basically.
But I agree with what our chatter Viram is saying here. that he doesn't normalize game plans in the same way. He needs to adjust to what the opponent is doing. With his buttons, his 6XL game isn't that good. His buttons are still excellent, but they're still power crept compared to a lot of the other ones, you know? Like the obvious comparison that people often take is Siegfried, which works in some ways, I think, and not in others, but there's an obvious comparison to be made here, and like Siegfried's buttons are just, they have less downsides, you know? Like less hurt box, and it's just like easier to, like harder to play around overall. So I agree. I think he's really good. But it is a bit difficult to rate him because most of us don't have personal experience on the highest level, like like consistently on the top level.
Even back in base game, I felt like playing him can feel a little bit like walking on stilts. And I think it is even more apparent in this game. Because of like again the high pace in this game and like you make like it's so easy to make small mistakes, and with him you really can't afford it because obviously he plays like the long game and like he can play the long game, but a combat game I don't think he plays that necessarily pretty well.
And he's hard to play, you know. This matters as well. I mean, there's gonna be one other character in here that's considered very good that has the same issue where if your character is hard to play, like there's a barrier to picking them up, you know, and like any good player can pick up Siegfried and have a decent Siegfried after a month. Percival though, like even today, even Toro,
if he gets buffed tomorrow, I don't think anybody's picking him up.
No, and even Toro is like struggles doing the optimals in every situation. You know,
is what I mean.
So yeah.
Like if any of the qualifiers, like he gets buffed tomorrow and he's like top 3. Top 3 is maybe a bit much, but if he gets buffed tomorrow, like I don't think any of the qualifiers will pick him up in like a month. It's not enough time. That being said, Dudeakoff, the next 2 characters are for you.
But yeah, I was just going to end on the Percival. I do think Toro's shadow does weigh heavily on Percival. He looks like a very good character in Toro's hands, and he looks like a super consistent, stable character with that, which is always nice to look at. So I think that is like an area where he could be slightly overrated, but generally speaking, tier list, you know, you want best players and the best characters. That's the ideal in comparing these characters. But anyway, Ladiva, like I think Ladiva is better than people give her credit for. I think she's very close to becoming a
mid-tier character.
No, I think she's a character that's like kind of like just slightly above the bottom tier, but like. They give her one wrong buff and suddenly she's like up here, and people are like making like Potemkin comparisons in like Strive, for example. Her pressure in the corner is like really good and really difficult to deal with. Neutral is pretty bad. The ability to get in is really bad, and that's the kind of thing that's holding her back.
I think having a DP was so crucial. Like that is like such a make or break.
If you got DP over a parry, that's obviously a big deal. But also, like, grappler players stake their lives on baiting out those DPs and leaving the right amount of gaps for the right amount of time.
Just to stopping her from getting in, I feel like headbutt. I feel like headbutt and or even lariat loses so much value when you're a character you can like consistently shut it down, send it back to neutral, and like I think about this a lot, where it's like, what does a DP do for you in this game? And there's like a lot of characters where it's like, oh, you get hit by a DP, but it doesn't matter. When Ladiva gets hit by a DP, it matters so much. It's like back to neutral, and like now she has to do that crawl all the way back.
The BC nerf definitely helps her.
Yeah,
because of the way like she also does a lot of like safe jumps, and also her way of getting in is like very traditional. Sometimes her way of getting in is just making you block a jump in. And right now, you can just BC, you know? So I think the BC nerf is going to help her, but we're talking about this patch, and in this patch, I would still put her in the bottom tier. I mean, you play her more than me, Dudeakoff. Obviously, I mean, I never played her, but so I think you have more experience, but it's hard for me to see the... I can see you bring up the... I think their character's worse than her. You know, I think I would put her like at the top of bottom tier or something, but it's just I would like put her there to just highlight that there are certain things about the character that just don't work, you know.
If we go by
I don't
the
think
chance to win a tournament, I think it's so rough. Like with her especially.
Yeah, like
what there's certain matchups that's just
there's some really ass matchups for her, which makes
not
it
just
difficult.
matchups.
But
we talked about the pace. Sorry, we talked about the pace, right, of the game, and like I feel like she's like one of the few characters who can't do that. right? To just like she can't like force like a quick pace on your opponent. Like you're fighting her, and like it's still at times like unless you don't have a DP and like she has alt lariat or something, it feels like you're playing base game, right? And there's not much she can like do about it.
I do think perceptions of Ladiva amongst players who don't play her as much is very much informed by base game, where you could just hold down back and do 2M all day, and then that would win the matchup for you a lot of the time. I do think she has the tools to deal with that now. It's just that she has to do a little wiggling to get to 50 meter before she can get those tools.
Yeah, like once the meter is there, it's a different story.
Yeah, her buttons on pressure are a lot better now as well. Like, go look up her buttons, go look up how plus and like 0 she is on a number of things. The frame traps she can do, her ability, like when you're in the corner against Ladiva with 0 BP, like it's just like absolute nightmare scenario in comparison to like any other like corner situation in this game. Perhaps maybe except like Bilal would be worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, what was I saying earlier was just like they give her one ignorant neutral skip, they give her like a really good way of like actually getting in the first place. She jumps up like massively for me, but at the moment she's like just above bottom tier. I'd say like these two would say she is like top of bottom tier, so I will put her there for now. And if everyone's concluded on the diva, I can move on to Matera.
Yes, go off.
Otherwise, we're running out of time. We've got like an hour.
Oh, you're there's a few people in chat here that will not like this.
I don't know. I feel like Matera, she is like she is a good solid character against most of the cast who gets absolutely destroyed by like a certain number of people in the cast. There's a few people you can say that about, and you could say which ones are better in general, but I think she like people really have a tough time dealing with her, even like top players, even players that can deal with her stuff very well. But they can just also pick a character that ignores everything that Matera does, and it becomes hell for Matera to win. So I would put her just above bottom tier.
Visuals in chat saying Uno Emperi, I love fighting Matera.
It defines the matchup entirely, which is a pain in the ass.
It's so funny.
And it's annoying because Matera's such a fun character.
Yeah, I agree with the placement. I think the things she can do are generally
tier as well.
Oh, okay. I probably don't agree with that, but I mean, I think that there are things she can do that are strong. You know, you Butterfly is strong. Watch Monarch play, right? And you see a bunch of situations that come up where he's leveraging her tools in a way that is like very impressive.
Yeah,
I do think that
as well. It's like her tools being unique and being able to deal with situations other characters can't makes her feel better than she is, maybe. But continue, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do think that there's a certain level of, and you know, Matera was very big in Europe, all of base game. A lot of our best players that performed the best played her, so I played this matchup for years and years and years and years, and a lot of that carries over into this game. You know, like she has 6XL, she has Far Light, which is like different now, but or you know, like the way you play with her is different now, but I feel like I'm good at the matchup, and that also informs that like I feel like I could play any character that's in the mid tier consistent, like whoever's gonna end up there, and I would have a winning matchup. That's how I feel about Matera in Rising. You know, any character, like give me any Shoto that can anti-air up consistently, and I feel like I'm probably gonna win that matchup. And I think there's just certain flaws in her kit that she can't fully make up for, you know.
I don't think Hop is as much a part of a game plan in this game as it is in base game, but I see your point there as well.
No, I agree, but I think if you don't have something to deal with consistently, like there's some characters that can't deal with Hop as consistently, I think then it becomes like very different, because then you can't play the way that I think is correct to play against her, which is like slowly. Like you're cornering slowly, you're doing grappler jumps, you're like, you know, you're keeping her honest by throwing stuff out that hits her zoning, be that U skills or like jumping. And like you know, and then she slows down, you 6CL in. Like any character that is probably gonna end up in mid-tier consistent can do that. And I think any character, and so as long as your 2H works against Hop, because there's some that can be a bit finicky, I think you. Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but
yeah, I'm just saying, don't worry.
But if that's true, you know, I think I would prefer playing any character against Matera of those compared to playing Matera myself. So.
Yeah, I mean, hop might make more in the game plan with the BC changes because a lot of people like to BC hop and she ends up blocking it a lot. But yeah, that's right. And then the characters that do shit on her tend to be the top tiers. The better players are playing Belial, Lucilius, Siegfried. Some people would argue Belial. I'd say they're insane, but you know that's where we're at. Any quick points to finish on Matera, Socky, or should we move on to
nope.
Fitizen's favorite character? Number one.
I love
Lewin
so much.
Lewin.
So I want to clear something up real quick because you know I'm a big hater of this character, 100%. I'm not sugarcoating it. The funny thing is like people think that extends to my hatred of like the concept of him, which isn't true. I think he's a good joke character. I think he's funny. I like his quotes. You know, like I think I remember like when I first saw him, I was like, wow, like this is actually a joke character that's like kind of like, yeah, it's not cringe. It's like kind of funny and stuff, right? I take what I take offense to with this character is the difference between dealing with these things and not dealing with these things is too big. You know, and I think that's just not good design. And you have those kinds of characters all the time in fighting games where it's like, oh, this move is reactable, but if you react to it, it's kind of mid. But if you don't react to it, it's broken, and it makes it impossible to play the game. I just despise that kind of design. And like, if you're playing against someone who doesn't know how to deal with Iggy, like you're playing a top tier. Like at that point, the character's a top tier. You know, you turn on Iggy and you do 50%. Like that's not good design, and I think it's not fun to play against for the people who struggle with it. You know, and I think I don't like HBA with the whole like you have to deal with it. If they choose to go for it, you have to deal with it every round, and it's just not fun. It's like a like if you deal with it, it's okay. If you don't deal with it, it's broken, and that's just not fun to me. But like all the other stuff he does. 6-6H, you know, like they're like other little things. Like I think parry is also similar, where it's like if you deal with it well, it's not as good, but if you don't deal with it well, it's kind of broken. But yeah, but if you're looking at like all the other stuff, his normals, you know, catbot, in general. 6-6H.
His throw game in general is so good.
Yeah, his throw game is good. Like I like those things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, like the whole summon do thing, summon eat. Like I like that gameplay. It's cool.
This revelation literally came to me like a month or two ago, where I like said, like I think I enjoy fighting this character because there's some cool dynamics. But like why does this super have to exist? Like I would be fine if he had like a normal super. Like let him be like a normal character. But like why do we have to have this like thing in the game that like completely kills beginners and puts like better players in this like, you know, the boring 10-second like fucking intermission, right? That we have to watch.
Like can we like when you're playing casuals, especially in tournament, like at least you lock in, you get hit, you don't get hit, whatever. I get salty if I get hit. But the point is, like when you're playing casuals against someone, like you're 20 games in, you're just trying to have fun, man. Like you're 20 games in, and they do the HP. Like, you know, maybe for the first 20 games you were like, okay, you know, I'm practicing, whatever. And then it's like game 25, they do HP, and you just don't want to do it anymore. You just like you roll your eyes, like, do we have to do this again? You know, and it's just not fun. It's just not fun. You know.
Bad game design.
How about in terms of a power ranking?
I'd put them
mid-tier as opposed to whether we like the character or not.
yeah. Okay, so now that's out of the way. Tier list wise, I think he is a lot better. For a while, I was my hate blinded me to the things that he does do well now, and I would put him in mid-tier volatile.
Yeah. In terms of me, I've always been like kind of like a big downplayer of Lewin. Like I felt like a lot of times when you watched him, he was gimmicking the other person and the person wasn't dealing with it correctly, and that's how he was getting his wins a lot of time. And then looking at his tools, they all had answers that you could do. His like strike throw game was like pretty good, but like you could just kind of, you know, take the low risk options the vast majority of the time and do like really well there, and Lewin can't really do anything about it to affect that situation. But like more recently, like I've seen like a lot more like good players and people who are dealing with the gimmicks like pretty well overall. Like they'll get hit by one or two, but not dealing with it well. I mean, they'd be dealing with it well in my opinion, and they still end up like losing games and having close sets against Lewin players.
I agree.
part of that, I
that's
think,
exactly how it was for me as well. Like, it was exactly the same experience that you're describing, where it's like, well, yeah, you know, you lost, but also you kind of didn't play that well. And as you said, now I see more and more people that play it fine. You know, maybe not perfect, but fine, and it's still not free, right? It's still not easy, and so
yeah, you could give the example of like the set between like Tunington and Miri yesterday, where like like it was like a close set overall, despite the fact that Miri was dealing with the Luane gimmicks fairly well. Like at the beginning, I think he got hit by a few things, but as it went on, like it was a lot more consistent. But like that type of set I've seen a lot more often, and I do think it's because like, well, because like Luane players got better overall and they're doing like different things and they're not doing the same thing that's killing them every time now. But also, I do think like the effective health of Luane is like a lot bigger factor than people give it credit for. Like his ability to steal like close games due to having slightly more health is like comes up a lot more than I think people realize. And I think Rising is a game overall where there is like a lot of give and take with regards to like you're going to take some damage, the other person's going to take some damage, and then you kind of trade that, and you being the better player overall will like win out as the set goes on. Like there's a lot of like when we run sets in the EU, there's a lot of like 3-1 sets. There's a lot of sets where the better player loses the first game and then wins the next 3, that kind of thing. And I think like his effective health comes into that a lot, and that really came into contrast with a couple of games yesterday with the Miri Tunington set as well, where like Toon was on chip point, uses a bro wheel to like launch Miri away, eats 2 things, suddenly has a decent amount of health to deal with like a lot more chip, and that happened like 3 times in a row, and like won the game because of that. Like any other character in that situation is dead, and that's like the most stark like version of that, but that's also true for like the game as a whole as well. So I'm happy with him taking Valtar. I know I kind of ranted on a bit there, but I do like I have come up like a personal revelation about the Luane character.
I think
I consider that bad. Quotation.
You can stack the numbers in his favor because of like the chances he gets right.
And Bro Wheel's fucking broken as well, obviously.
And players are just playing better. I mean, you know, I've not just been a hater of Luane. I've kind of been a hater of the players in the past, where it's like, you know, I look at it, it's like, because I'm kind of elitist when it comes to playstyles, where it's like if you're doing something that shouldn't work and you rely on it, like I just don't like that. I want to see good ass Granblue, you know. And so if you're going to do like 6/6H to put yourself into the corner, because maybe your opponent isn't using block button, and then if it doesn't work, you press parry frame 1 because maybe your opponent is like, you know, caught off guard by everything, and then like presses into the parry, and oh, you know, now the parry hit, so it wasn't that big of a deal that you cornered yourself. So if I see that, like I just shake my head, you know, it's like, no, that's not good gameplay. But we don't see that like that, and those kinds of plays have their place, right? Like I'm not like you can never do that kind of thing, but I feel like the Luane players before were relying on that kind of stuff a lot, and it's not to the same degree anymore. And so that's why I'm not quite as much of it. I have to say one thing though. Someone of our community said something a while ago that was so true. It's like Luane starts in Masters. Like the way the character is designed, like the character starts in Masters, and I think really that's so like Luane players get up, like rank up quickly, and then they're up there, and then they're like, now you have to learn the game when you're like already playing against good players, because like S++ players can't deal with you, and that also. Yeah, and that also makes it like you know, I think that also makes you judge them a bit harshly, because it's like you shouldn't be here, and it's like oh, you know, you feel like, oh, you're carried because you shouldn't be here, but it's like it's not their fault that you know, like they couldn't learn the game in S+ and S++ because people just die to Iggy. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean that's an odd thing about Rising. It's like beginner friendly, but there's these things that just completely destroy beginners, and you know you can go about it for hours, but that's a different topic. Anyway, Ferry, we were watching a South American event last night where like the usual Raz Ferry showed up.
Put an extra video. Yeah. No comment.
Didn't even let me finish my comment about that. I think Ferry's better than people give her credit for.
Yeah, but that's like that's such
unique access. If she gets a hit, like people, it tends to snowball pretty bad for people all the time.
Yeah, but I feel like that's also really like matchup unfamiliarity. It's like,
I mean, of course, but I mean, like South America, for example, like they get the matchup all the time, and
they know.
And when I watch it, they're playing the matchup pretty decently as well. They're doing the correct things, in my opinion.
But it goes both ways. goes both ways. That's the thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, she
she can
low damage, skill gap, etc. And again, like we're Europe, where we don't have like a really strong ferry player. I know Zergi's picked up ferry again recently and did pretty well in an event last weekend. But from when I was watching Zergi, it was just sort of like people weren't dealing with the matchup well. But we'll see as it goes on.
They're just so volatile. They're just so volatile. Like she has so many like little things that are cool. But the problem is just like, again, like you get like one jump in and like they explode. It's so bad, especially like now that she doesn't have like a regular DP anymore. So yeah, I'm not a big fan. Obviously she can do some things, but it's like, are you winning consistently first of 3 with her, with the characters that are in the cast? Right. Yeah. Especially like when her worst matchups are like some of the easiest characters to play in this game. Right.
Yeah, so again, like the perceived character strength thing, if we're doing that kind of list, I could say see putting her higher. If we're talking about meta viability, I think she absolutely belongs to the bottom tier, because even the matchups that she's like, that she should be good against, she's not usually that good against. And then there's still some characters that just kind of destroy her, you know? And I see what you're saying, Dudeakoff, like, it's not like if you play her well, you can't make anything happen, but no one in the cast is like that, I think. Because the game is, like, homogenized, right? It's a modern fighting game. And so, I think I would like to make an intermission for just a second, because
just not twice... say that
Huh? No, because like you said, I want you to put a character in bottom tier that belongs there. Because you say Ladiva and Fairy are better than people give Fairy. Who's not? Who belongs at bottom tier?
People talk about these characters like they're completely unviable and like you can't win games with them, and like every time you lose again, like because it's a matchup gap, and it's not because like
but like
as the patches have come out, they've more homogenized the game more and more. Like these characters at the bottom have become more and more viable as the game went on. Right, that's like literally the big thing. Right, like with even like Anila, right? Like people think she's like so bad. Like she hits the 668, you're dead. Right.
No, but like, I think like Anila and Vikala are like significantly weaker than a lot of the cast in the game. Yeah, I think Fairy's stronger than them as well. Like Anila, you can probably argue has been better because like stable Shoto character that does the kind of things, but
yeah,
I don't really see it. I'm really down on Nia. Like, I think if you just
Nia's broken, man.
I mean, she's got broken tools, but like...
No, I mean, like, she doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like there's so many characters. There's so many characters in this game where, like, they have, like, downtimes where it's like, oh, like, this is bad for the character, and they're, like, in a bad position. Like, for her, these downtimes are, like, it's, like, insane. It's, like, you know, it's like, Lucilius. Lucilius is, like, oh, like, there's one time in the whole set, like, where he's, like, 5 seconds or, like, 10 seconds where he kind of has to, like, chill. For her, it's like constantly. It happens like 4 times in a game, in one game, and like she has to like block for 10 seconds.
Might as well do Nier now, but like I put Nier in the bottom tier. Has anyone got any like further points on what Socky said?
Well, I mean, I'm completely fine putting it there, but I mean, on my own list, I would probably put her like at the bottom of the higher tier, just because it's fun to think about. Like maybe someone can figure something out, right? That kind of thing.
Because I think her reward, at least the reward,
she has high reward and stuff. But
you know. For example.
But yeah, exactly. So I would put her one higher than this, but I'm not gonna fight on this. Like I don't really care that much. The thing that really matters is I think even now, like when I see people play against Luca, like they just don't play the situations where death is gone correctly. Yeah. You know, it's like death is gone and you're like still doing wiggle. Like what are you doing? Like do you realize that your opponent can't do anything? Like what the fuck are you doing? You know, like go in. I mean, I'm not saying run in frame 1 and don't stop running in, but like don't like play neutral. Don't pretend you're playing footsies against a character who doesn't have anything.
Full screen down backing versus Nia who has nothing. And it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, there was this one thing, like there was an NA tournament. I forgot which one it was and who was playing. It was probably Elsa playing, but it was like Nier didn't have was on cooldown for like ages, and the other player was just like down back. Take a step forward, down back. Take a step forward, down back, and just like letting those 8 seconds or whatever like run out. You're just yelling at the screen like, "What are you doing? Go in!"
Yeah,
you know.
But I probably am overemphasizing with Nier a bit because of like I did think she was, when I was watching like Inoki players, like I felt like there was something there, and it's kind of like not in the back of my mind.
The thing is, she still only leads like 2 hits, right? Like BC is still strong, so like if you hit them once, and then you know like. 2 and 4H, hitting 2 and 4H in neutral is not that hard.
Yeah,
right?
and she still get the cash
and-
out damage at the end.
And even if you have to wait these like 10, 20 seconds, if you BC a lot, like you can like extend it a little bit. But then you have to think about like the best players in the world.
Anyway.
Like if they go against Nia, they're not gonna like risk running into 2 and 4H. Like they don't have to risk it anymore. That used to be that they had to risk it, but now they don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like it's so hard to fight against that. That being said, I would probably still put her over Fairy. But it doesn't matter. But let's continue because we're running out of time.
We've got 40 minutes, so like I'm just going to try to go like step through them a bit faster. We got we'll try and go like through the lower tiers a bit faster because they're like kind of less relevant to.
I think every character that is like more of, like there's more to like say or like.
Yeah, that's fine. So we got Anila. If you
I think Anila should be next to Matera. I think she's definitely one above.
I disagree, but
I disagree as well. But I don't. Again, I don't feel super strongly about it.
It doesn't really matter too much on this level.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking about like meta viability, and it's a matter of like what you value in a toolkit. I would rather main Anila than Matera, Vikala, Fairy, like all of those characters for sure. You know, I personally, because I think she's more consistent. But when I'm thinking about the matchup spread, it's not looking good. You know, she probably feels a lot better against the consistent mid tiers. You know, like against Gran and stuff. Even against Jita, she probably feels fine because they can't like challenge her and just like run her over. But I wouldn't put her too highly.
Cool. We got Vikala as well. She's kind of in her beta period at the moment. She's getting some buffs in the next patch. Yeah. Some people aren't happy with the buffs. It's not enough, they say. But in her current iteration, she struggles, I believe.
Yeah.
I think she is underrated a little bit, but it's like people. Discourse about this stuff is always really bad.
I think when I was talking to you about it, I think the thing is that like you see her like spaced pressure that is able to like ignore BC a lot of the time and just continue on, and you can make reads within that pressure in order to like actually get hits into combos, and you think like, oh, that's like really good. But like there is a bunch of characters like that, and they do it a lot better than Vikala, and I don't think like her getting into that position in the first place is such a struggle.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right?
Because you have to get someone in the corner with this character that can't really provide like forward pressure.
Like why play her when you can play CAC, right? But it's like, there's so many characters on the list that can be like that, right?
Well, Vikala has good moves, you know, and like Vikala has better moves than Anila. I think like as a whole, you know, if you're looking like just the specials, for example, I think like Trap is better. And probably like Rasengan as well to get out of the corner. I don't actually know what it's called. Like both of those moves are probably better than anything Anila has. Like you know, as in just raw specials. But it's you know on a character that just has like a very anemic game plan. So I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's a bit early. So.
Yeah, I feel like I would, like, if I had the time, if I wouldn't be going to the World Tour, I would honestly play her for like a month or two, just because I can't like, I can't stand the discourse around it. But like, I get the problem, right? Like, there's so many things, you know, like having low health, and she doesn't necessarily like go as. I mean, she has like some good conversions, but they're also like they're item reliant, and right now without the bar. That I think is really bad. I think once the bar comes in, you can crank up the consistency more, because then you're like, oh, I know I can get the bomb, so I can like, you know, go for the combo there, or I know I get this, so I can like extend here.
Yeah,
like, you don't even have to go into the cooldown when you know you're not getting the right cooldowns. And she also gets like she's also getting a damage buff, right? Which I think will matter. Like again, people say like, does it really matter? But like, you're crying about your character having like 1k less health, and then if your specials all do like 500 or 1000 more damage, then you know, that's probably makes a big deal. But that being said, you know, nobody plays the character anyway.
Anyway,
let's go.
Vayne.
Let's continue.
Anyone got any strong thoughts on Vayne?
No.
No, I don't think he's better than advertised. I think he's progressing on 6XL. He has some matchups that supposedly Grimnir is kind of nice. Like our Vayne player, resident Vayne player, thinks Grimnir is pretty nice for him. That's cool. It's cool when, you know, like a character has this niche of sorts, but outside of that, I don't think there's much reason to play him right now if you're like trying to win a tournament or something, you know. Too many weaknesses. 6XL is really good against shield and stuff, so.
I feel like he's like, from all the characters at the bottom, I feel like he's like the most apparent, where it's like, he does like three things, and learning the counterplay to that is not that hard. And you like, there's I feel like it's so much easier to like figure out what he wants to do and play around it than like, let's say Fairy. I mean, Fairy maybe not Fairy because like her anti is so good. Maybe then I don't know, then like Neo or even Metera, right? I feel like playing against Metera is harder than like figuring out that you have to spot dodge his 2-on-4 and like not jump on him or not hit into the shield. That being said, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody like really. I feel like arguing whether a character is bottom 5 or bottom 7 is like
quick fire is he the worst character? Yes, no.
No. Man. I think Mikhail is worse. But again, this is based on like very little, right? So whatever.
I think he's got some nice buffs recently, but you know, he's still not necessarily the best 6XL. And who cares,
I'd rather play the non-zoner because Zane isn't really a zoner. I'd rather play the non-zoner than the zoner in this game. So anyway. All right. Who else is like obviously bad? Like, is there anyone else?
Abel.
It's
the last character.
I think
he's at the bottom left.
He's super volatile, obviously, but oh my god, he's got all those Belial tools that are really nice. He can really prey on people's like mental stack a lot of the time, but also play like a solid like neutral game as well. You don't see that so much with a lot of Abel players, but I believe that is the case.
I just think he likes.
I'm happy to put him at like this tier. I could see an argument for like mid tier volatile, but like I would have to see it from like someone actually playing the character.
Well, I mean, I would put him in the green tier here, not bottom tier bottom characters, because I think for mid tier volatile he would need to be less volatile. Funnily enough, I think the low health and taking damage yourself, you know, like it's too much. Like if you're trying to get through a bracket. No
that's
way.
the big thing. It's like you can. I think he can probably beat like.
But I don't want to see an Abel. He can beat anyone. Like
he can beat anyone. But like you're not. I don't want to be doing that through a bracket. That's the thing. First
if I'm in like round 3 of a bracket, I do not want to see Abel. You know, like I'm scared because he needs one good hit, and then like you know like one good hit. Maybe 2 zoning tools need to hit your opponent. Maybe like 1 anti-air with the 6U. And now, if he has SSBA, the next like close heavy is going to kill you, right? And he has his super. His SSBA is one of the best supers in the game, if not the best.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not for tweaking, but like I still think the command grab supers outside of Bob's because like kind of bad range, but I think the command grab supers
buffed the range. I think on his.
Yeah, but I think like the Source SSBA and the and Abel's SSBA and Ladiva's SSBA, I think they're even better than the tweaking. Like, obviously, it depends on the matchup, but overall, I think they're the best supers in the game. And because, like, the way you play the game where you're, like, mash teching and stuff, and you get them so easy, like, you can put your opponent in position to use them so easily. And you, like, you can't even mash tech against it, right? Like, you have to...
I don't think you can even backdash because the backdash gets hit by the
it depends on the timing. It depends on the timing, right? But, like... It's such a good super, so I would put him over the bottom tiers for that reason, pretty much. It's not the zoning that's good. Like people say, oh, his zoning is bad.
Yeah.
Like no one cares. You just use 6XL, which is good. Use Far H, which is good, and you use like his specials that are like combo specials that are good. You know, now you're playing like a Charlotta with less health. It's a very bad comparison, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like you're just playing 6XL game, and you have high damage, and you die as well, but I think that makes it better than the absolute bottom tier.
Cool.
Yep.
I'll try and hit a few more obvious ones quickly. So we've got Belial. Is Belial top 1?
Yes.
There's no... I don't think we even have to have this argument. I think everybody agrees. Best character in the game.
We've had conversations before. Does Belial have a single bad matchup?
No.
And I don't think so. I mean, I picked up Lucy to counter him. And because at the time the discourse was, Lucy beats Belial. I don't think that anymore. I like the matchup a lot. I'd rather be the Belial. I'd rather be the Lucy than the Belial in that matchup. I think it's even. But to think that like the character that was touted as his counter, like from my point of view, goes even, is pretty ridiculous. He's top 1 in my opinion. I don't. If he has a bad matchup, I wouldn't know which one it is.
That's pretty much all I could say as well. We've got Grim there as well. Some people might not put him in the top tier. They might put him slightly below that, but is anyone here of that opinion?
No, he's top 3. Maybe top 5, but like I think the big thing with him is that like even the matchup, 100%. I think even the matchups, like this comes up a lot as well. Like when I had a conversation with Usagi, right, who's played the character, and like even like Zane too. I think thinks very highly of him. But like the point is, the character, even the quote unquote like not that great match or like slightly losing or whatever, even often it's like it can matter so little when your character has a 50, like arguably reactable 50-50, and gets like 70% of every poke in the game because he gets the setup so easily.
We
like
talked about consistency earlier, right?
Yeah.
Grimnir might have the most consistent game plan in the game. You know, he always does the same thing against every character. Like backdash, fireball, put up seals, do your seal thing, you know? And he can keep doing that over and over again. And that kind of consistency is incredibly valuable. And it doesn't surprise me that Zane, someone who played DBFZ, where the neutral is played that way, you know, it's almost like you're playing an assist game, where you're saying, you know, I'm gonna back off and I'm gonna do like my neutral jumps and I'm gonna like move around a bit of the screen, and then I'm gonna find an opening where I can like assist and go in. And now plus I'm gonna do my thing and then I'm gonna leave again if it didn't work, if I didn't open you up, right?
Yeah.
And that is how Grimnir plays. You know, like he puts up his seals. He can like someone who's really good like Zane can like knows how to fake out his approach. You know, he goes in and goes out, and he looks. What did you do? Oh, Socky pressed 2H. Interesting. He presses 2H when I, you know, air dash in. And then, you know, next time he's going to do something that beats that. And Grimnir players play this game every single game they play against every single character. You know, there might be like 1 or 2 matchups or 3 where it's a bit more
where you can't put the EX fireball down.
Yeah.
So you have to get a knockdown first before you get the skills. Like,
so we, as like people that play against Grimnir, we need to learn how to play against the character with like a fraction of the play time that they have playing that way. You know, so you're trying to be one step ahead against someone who literally does nothing else all day when they play Grand Blue. And I think that's a really underrated aspect of it as well. You know, where like no matter how good you think you are against Grimnir, your Grimnir opponent has way more experience at dealing with people who know the matchup, you know. And so, I think that makes him extremely good. If someone puts him outside of top 5 because they say, oh, you know, compared to Belial or Cat or someone like that, there are some matchups that are difficult. I think those characters don't have any matchup that is that hard.
I think him and Lucilius, they're like brothers. They're like right next to each other. They both have like similar trait. Where it's like they both like play such a like I always talk about how this game, like the layer 1, like everybody like plays like a layer 1, like my layer 1 is better than your layer 1. Like these two characters are like the layer 1 queens. Like that shit will fuck you up. That shit will beat you. Like there's not many characters who are like whose layer 1 is stronger. Yeah. Like their first game plan is stronger than yours. And that makes them so consistent, right? That they can just play that game plan with everybody. Right.
Yeah. Well, we got Zenith in chat saying you underrated him, so you got that to think about as well. So we got about 15 characters left for about 29 minutes, so it's like just.
Let's go into Lucilius.
I mean, I was going to do all mid tiers quickly to try and get a yap on, but I mean, this is going to be more of a talk.
Let's finish the top tiers while we're on it.
Yeah. I guess we may say, I guess. So we got Lucilius. Is he among the top 3 here? Is he at the top of slightly above Charlotte tier here? Where do you put him?
Well, I don't think he's top 3 or top 5 personally, and I'm gonna try to keep it short. We can use the same. I'm gonna use the same framework for every character that I mentioned from now on. It's a matter of also like, do you have any bad matchups, right, or not? And so I understand it. People rate this differently. Like, does the Cat main give a shit if my Lucilius has a bad matchup against Beatrix? No, right? Like, who cares? It's. No one cares about that. So I understand that it like comes off as weird, but if you're comparing it to the other top tier characters, I do think that Lucy has like one clear bad matchup with Beatrix, and that's more than most of the other ones, you know. And because of that, also I'm not gonna talk about Lucy for half an hour, but I could. I do think there are some weaknesses he has that are a little underrated, but he shits on so many characters. He shits on everyone that's like all the mid-tier consistent characters like Gran or like if you want to say Jita and stuff. He shits on those. He shits on zoners, and because of that, like he's public enemy number 1 in a lot of people's eyes. Understand that, but if you're looking at just how you play against the other top tiers, you know, if Cat has 50% and she can fireball me. She's essentially in Blade level 5. By the time I'm in Blade level 5, her in one hit is also going to kill me. you know. And so that like huge advantage that you have in other matchups becomes like a lot lower. But
yeah, but I think
that's
the what I care about a lot is the chip more so than the guaranteed damage on hit, really. Like, because like once you get into the like the nitty gritty, and like Cat, like you both are like 30 or something, and now Cat has to finish you off, and you can finish her off. But you have the tweak super and the chip, and she has like neither of those. It's like that's where like things get so much tougher. But I get it, like with other characters too. But I would definitely put Lucilis at least in the highest tier. Like he is.
I'm
definitely up
fine.
there.
Like
I think top 5 is what I would say.
Yeah, I don't think he's top 5. I don't think he's top 5, but we can talk about
yeah. I generally fall on the Fade side of things, but I'm also a Lucilius player, so take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Let's do Kag.
Let's do Kag. Cagliostro.
Kag is next to Percy. I think she's very
next to
strong
Percy.
there.
I think everyone agrees with this.
I'm surprised because like
for a while I kind of I feel like I underrate her a little bit, but I feel like seeing her more and more, I feel like all the pieces have fallen into place, and I feel like now she actually has like some very like straightforward ways of, you know, dealing good damage in a lot of situations once you have the meter or the positioning or the chaps and stuff. And I think that's really like stabilized the gameplay for me for her.
Being able to combo throw into big damage, and then if you counterplay it.
One for you has to be my MVP. I think that move single-handedly, like, because her mid-screen conversions with all the traps are usually like not that good, but like that shit has so much corner carry. And that's like you like literally like base game Jita if you hit that stuff. It goes so far, and then like she gets so much off of it as well, and then since she doesn't spend the traps in that combo, she can just like set it up afterwards. And now you're in the corner with the traps on you, and that means you either like getting hit and die, or she can just like force you to play passive, and then she plays passive until all her cooldowns are back.
Yeah, she also gets out of the corner more easily. We talked about fuzzy jumping being worse. Well, she still has an option she can do to fuzzy jump that is a full combo on someone throwing. You know, like even in the corner without backdash. So, you know, by just doing air teleport. And air teleport in general is still like really good. It blows up both the throw and the way people want to defend, which is like fuzzy mashing. They have to fuzzy mash with like different buttons standing, which is not really what you want to be doing.
6XL on defense was also like very scary to do when traps come into play. Like we see this a lot where like people like get blown up because they autopile to 6XLing on defense onto traps and just like, you know, explode. And like how far heavy still is also like one of like so good for that too. And also I gotta say this too, for anti-airs, I feel like there's not a lot of characters left in the game who can like reliably anti-air with something that isn't 2H, but she can still with her far heavy. Like that's still like one of the best
anti-air character finally.
Yeah, her far heavy is good against grappler jumps. Good, yeah. Like you can't, you know, I play Siegfried and his jump H is insane. We can go Siegfried next, but his jump H is insane. And you know, in a lot of matchups, I can just do grappler jumps, and I either press jump H or I won't press it, and that's like a legitimate issue that people have to deal with me. Kag doesn't have that issue though, because if she's far enough away, like far H is gonna, like in a spacing where my jump H still would connect, far H still anti-airs.
And that's a spacing where she wants to be. I think like this is a bit of a tangent, sorry, but in this game I feel like playing around 6XL can be really tough, obviously. And if you feel like you want to be at a spacing where you can like react to the initial dash, or, you know, make the 6XL whiff and stuff, you want to be further out a bit, and that's where a lot of grappler jumps shine. And like she doesn't have to worry about that. And like she plays really well in that spacing, right? Because if you give her space, she gets to set up. If you with the 6XL, like she can react with the initial dash with like far heavy or something, right? And again, the grappler jumps, you know, really good against, like, you know, she can deal with it so well. That's why I feel like it feels like so much more consistent and neutral, and like that's why I would rate her high.
Yeah.
I'll just say like Cagliostro, like it's a game that revolves around strike throw. You're getting your damage by like threatening throws and like causing your opponent to press buttons in order to avoid that. She gets like a combo from her throw super easily, and like that's what makes her really strong. She's got far heavy, which is a great way of, as they've been describing. But like in differential to Percy, I'd say she has some matchups a bit of a struggle for her, like a big struggle for her, which is what keeps her down. But like everything else going on is kind of insane with her, in my opinion. But yeah, Siegfried, go for it.
Yeah, so, it's become kind of a meme that, I say Siegfried is in top 5. It started as absolutely the truth. I thought he was around top 5. Pre last patch, I thought he was around top 5. Then after the patch, he got nerfed. And then, it makes sense that you think he went down. And people thought he went down. Japan thought he went down. You saw him like floating around 7 to 10 at times. Sometimes even past 10. I think I underestimated you Fireball, and that's my main takeaway. I think I underestimated you Fireball. I think it's really good. I also overestimated the EX Fireball nerf a little bit. In some matchups, it's even better now. I mean, in most, it's clearly worse. Don't get me wrong. Like, that was a significant nerf, but in some, it is actually better now. And so, I think Siegfried is better than Lucilius, even now. There are some matchups that are hard. Like Skill agrees. I mean, Skill's always said this. I kind of came around on it, but Skill thinks Saurus beats Siegfried. I think Lucy beats Siegfried. I think Belial beats Siegfried. And so like when you think of it that way, it's like difficult to feel like, oh, this is a top 5 character. Like there's 3 characters that are like super common that all beat him. Saurus isn't super common outside of like Skill, but there are 3 characters that beat him. You can't say the same thing about like Cat, I think, in that way. So I was kind of hesitant to think of him as a top 5 character. I do think the consistency is still there. The chip damage is insane. Gives you a lot of consistency. So I concede that I would probably put him like at the bottom of top 5. I don't think he's top 3. I think Barotorek actually thinks he's top 3. I don't think he's top 3. But I do think he's top 5.
That's interesting from a Japanese player, but it's also a Siegfried player, talking about Lucilius as well. But yeah, I think like, Siegfried, because he's been around so long, he's been such an omnipresent part of Grand Blue Rising competitive scene. Like some of his strengths have just been able to get through brackets relatively unscathed a lot of the time, relatively stable matchup group, and the ability to play like a consistent game plan without having to adapt too much until you get to like the really good players is really good. The thing with like Siegfried that a lot of Siegfried players will talk about is the struggle when it comes to like those top 8s and those winners finals and stuff. But
it's the mid-screen damage compared to the other top tiers, right? Like you think about Catalina, and not just mid-screen damage, but also like the corner carry. Obviously, he has like his own use skill that has a lot of corner carry, but it's not as easy to do than like the Belials or the Catalinas, right? Where it's like that's your game plan. You hit the button anywhere on screen, you get a lot of damage, and like you can like if you're fighting Siegfried, you can like play for corner carry to make it so that he doesn't get to be in these positions. And like I mean, his mid-screen damage can still be really nice, but obviously if you look like at the other top tiers, right? Like you look at the Belial, you look at like Grimnir, like the Grimnir's like reward is insane. Like Lucilius reward, obviously, Galena, Belial, and then arguing again. Like if you say, "Oh, he's not top 5," that sounds so scary. But like arguing, like if somebody said to me, "Lucilius is better than Siegfried," I wouldn't start like a big. Exactly. You wouldn't cry about, or like Beatrix better than Siegfried. I wouldn't cry about it. Like I can see it, right? So it's like that's such a funny thing. Like if you say he's not top 5, but like everybody like gasp, right? But
also talking about the hive mind, like when you have a take and people don't disagree with, like with the hive mind disagrees with it. Siegfried is maybe the easiest character in the game. He's super easy, and he's whatever. But he's one of the easiest, right? And he's one of the easiest characters in the game, and playing against him is so much harder than playing him yourself. Like you can talk about how you can spot dodge every EX skill, and how the fireball isn't that good if you just spot dodge it.
It was literally like one of the reasons why the Japanese like put him a bit like lower, where it's like because like they say like the ease of use is so high that's why like everybody like overrates him a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's so easy, and because he's so easy, people like lose to him, and they're like, "Wow, even if I win, I'm working so much harder." And it's true, But I'm thinking about the end result, and actually at versus fighting, I remember having like Koji saying that he thinks Siegfried's overrated. That was like in the old patch, because he thought that if you just if you're on point, like it's hard for him to threaten you at like the mid range, and for a while that also kind of informed my opinion, because I see the vision. The vision is like other characters are better at making you make mistakes, but Siegfried, when you make a mistake, you're dead. So we're talking about like the consistency of not messing up. Still,
that just kind of
to me he's I feel he's like around top 5 now. Could do the actual order in a sec, but
yeah, that does
just too consistent.
And people get up on 5, like because our hands have 5 fingers. Like, oh, what's top 5? What's top 10? Well,
nice
why not
number.
top 6? Who the fuck cares?
Top 7, I like.
But yeah, I mean, that kind of extends from what I was saying earlier about like because he capitalizes so well on mistakes, like he gets through the earlier brackets a lot easier because there's a lot more mistakes happening there, obviously. But yeah,
anyway. And he has like.
So you go for
okay,
it.
one more second.
No, it's fine.
Like he has like the whole kit is so stable because like no matter what character you fight, you can just 2 and 4. No matter what special you're dealing with, most of the time your DP will reach. I mean, obviously it got nerfed, right?
Yeah.
But like most of the time, still your DP will reach if it's a special cancel. Your super will probably hit them because it's like one of the fastest supers in the game. Like this little damage. I mean, we see this with Lowain all the time, where he gets that one throw, a bit of chip, the bro wheel, the HBA chip.
Oh,
right?
the chip matters
like
a lot.
That, it adds up so much, and like Siegfried is like that, but like
getting
it's like so stable.
Getting to change when my opponent's on 5% or 10%, getting to change my game plan from I need to hit them with 6XL to I need to chip them out is massive. That's a massive difference in how I can approach the game, right? And so, like, I completely agree with that.
There's guaranteed ways to set it up too, right? With like when you block that far heavy, it's like gapless.
I often go for a 2 RC route now into UDP, the mid screen route. I often do that now when it doesn't kill. When my opponent is left with 5%, because I'm like whatever. Like
it's like
those 2 BP are less valuable than just getting to change my game plan to chipping you out.
It's like it doesn't kill, but it does kill because it puts you in an essential checkmate situation.
Yeah. Some characters can't do anything about it. Where I finish on the UDP, I do M Fireball, then you can't spot dodge that one because you're gonna get punished, right? You have to hold it. Now do far H, 2-1-4H. You can BC that, but if you mistime it, like the 2-1-4H, makes you whiff, and like there's so much dumb shit. Anyway, he's super good.
That's the Beatrix next.
Probably... I'm gonna stop trying to like hurry you guys. Like, we'll just let it go on as long as it goes along. I know like you're both gonna be conscious of the time anyway, but like we're gonna go over anyway, and we're gonna raid like hard edge at the end of it anyway. So just like let it be. Let you guys yap a bit. I think people want that as well, so we'll do that. But anyway, Beatrix.
Top 5.
Top 5. Top 5.
Yep.
Top 5. Better than Siegfried.
It's different. I mean, I don't want to pretend like I know exactly. Like Siegfried beats Beatrix. But I will say this: Lucy and Beatrix are the most unhealthy characters of the game.
True.
Among those, I mean, I guess Belial as well, but it's so easy to forget about him because he's top 1.
He's always there.
It's like Beatrix and Lucilius invalidate so many characters on their own, and to a degree that like even though Siegfried also beats most of those characters, like he doesn't invalidate them to that degree, and it's just not fun. I don't think it's.
You still get the sense that you can play the game against Siegfried, even though that sometimes might not be the case.
Yeah, you can delude yourself. Well, your tools work.
Yeah,
like he has more health than you.
It's good.
He has more health than you, and he's better than you. But like, at least you get to do your stuff. Yeah.
Beatrix also just plays the game really well, which worries me a little bit because like that means unless they are like changing the game and the system mechanics a lot, I don't see how they can like make her.
What's static on your end.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have your
One second.
phone next to your mic or something?
Is it good now?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. Now.
Okay, cool.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I have no idea what it was. Anyway, but yeah, Beatrix, again, I feel like she like plays the system so well that it feels like hard to really quote unquote like nerf her. But like I feel like if you're looking at the top tiers right now, I feel like the character that can like easily get nerfed like the easiest, like in the next patch would be like Cat and Lucilius. It's based on like, you know, because they tweak one thing and so much changes. But with Beatrix, what are they gonna do? Like we know 6XL is probably gonna be the same. And like obviously you can do like the clock thing. Like let's say she doesn't have clock anymore, it only happens on command grab or something, and that's like huge, obviously. But they're really like willing to do that is the question.
Command grab
And like
is really good.
the command grab is also really weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I gotta use this really good move to get stronger. But yeah, I think she's really hard to play against as well. I mean, you see her usage rates are through the roof everywhere. There's a reason for that. She's simple and she's good. I don't hold that against her. There's actually some moves that I think are really well designed on her. I think it's cool that her fireball has such an extended hurt box on a character like her. I think her far H, if the pace of the game wasn't so high and more characters had good special cancels to punch it, like the hurt box hitbox is good on it. Like I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's a cool button.
It's a cool. I like playing against Beatrix Fire H, you know, and it's not just because Siegfried has a good whiff punch on it. Like other characters that, you know, any character where I could go like button into U skill, I would probably enjoy playing against that, you know. And so yeah, I just think that but because the pace of the game is so high, you can't just like breathe. You can't just like, oh, let me wiggle, try to whiff punish Beatrix for H. Like you can't do that. You can't take time off. She's already gonna be in on you, you know. And so yeah, I think there's some things that like some small tweaks that they can go for. Clock is ridiculous. I mean, we didn't mention today how much all of us hate SSBA taking 2 crystals. She's easily her and Beatrix are the biggest offenders of that, right? Because they always get into animation, and like once she has SSBA, she also gets the mechanic that lets her get the animation on it.
Yeah, it's like
and so like how many rounds play out like you're on 80% health, she's really low, and any hit now, it's not just like some weird hit. We talked about like the quality of hits, you know. Jita's quality of hits isn't like always the same. Like it doesn't matter, any hit is going to go 2 to H, is going to animate you, and now you're dealing with a character, you're probably in range now to where the next hit kills, and you're playing against a character that has a 5U command grab. You know, like that's just not fun. Having to deal with that every round, it's just not fun. You know, it's too homogenized. But she does have certain weaknesses. You know, like she doesn't have the most insane pressure reset game. You know, like she can go like 2 to L cancel to catch you out mashing, whatever. But or you know, she has dive kick, which is strong against some characters. But at the end of the day, you know, like she's not gonna go 6XL far like she's not gonna be like Belial where she goes 6XL plus unblocked fireball, and is right next to you. You know, her fireball, like she's further away after that. So I think, you know, also 8 frame to M matters for sure.
The matchup spread is also so nice. I don't think there's any like there's many characters where you like you go where you know you are in your pools and you look at them and you're like worried about them because the zoners, you know, aren't gonna give you much trouble, and the mid tiers you just out reward them, right? Like except for like and she's like one of those like top tiers where it's like the worst. I mean, there's probably every character, but like, you know, like unless you're going up against other top tiers, I don't think there's much to worry about. Well, like when you look at some other characters like Saurus later, for example, where it's like that is not necessarily the case, and probably also the reason why you would like rate a character like Beatrix higher than again Saurus.
I'd say amongst the top tier, she's kind of like very similar to Grimnir in the sense that like the damage output compared to like similar characters of her archetype is like off the charts for no good reason. And then you add the other stuff on top of it, like the clock and the command grab as well, and it just pushes them over the edge, like as well as like Grimnir's like Oki and that kind of thing as a point of comparison. So I could see her like very easily being like weakened just because of like a further like damage nerf than on top of the one she's already got. Obviously the 6XL nerf hit her a lot harder than a lot of other characters because of the damage.
She
she's
doesn't
already
have that
outputting
many
a shitload in the first place.
Yeah.
But she does fly under the radar a little bit, I feel like.
With
Especially
Flying
after... Good one. So, but like, yeah, this is not necessarily like a discussion on the patch either, right? So
Yeah.
go forever for that. But
yeah, I think if she gets a damage nerf and she needs to hit you one more time, that makes a big difference for someone like her, you know.
but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah. And
where's Belial? You have to take like 3 or 4 tools before it goes down.
I mean, like Siegfried is built to beat Beatrix, right? The 2M, like his best poke being a low, the fireball going over the ground, you know, just in general, just having the range on his stuff. Like M fireball being super good against her. Like he's built to beat her, and he doesn't even destroy her. I think he wins for sure, but like, you know, I don't think it's like destruction or anything. So just food for thought, you know. Like I think if you have like these archetypes, if an archetype beats an archetype that they shouldn't beat, or beats an archetype that is, you know, like kind of it's not as hard as it should be or something, I think that's something to think about as well.
Yep.
Cool. All right, we dodged it for too long. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Potential woman, where do we put her?
Potential woman, yeah. I think the potential is there. I think very highly of her. If you had asked me a few months ago, I would have put her top 5, 100%. Speaking to the American players at UFA, they also think that she's arguably top. Like, there's a world where we're all playing on this level where she's top 1, you know, and everyone agrees she's top 1. Just because I care about the potential more than the results in that case. And I'm confident enough to like look at her and see what she can do and put the rate the potential a bit higher than the result, you know. Some people like they're gonna feel differently. If you just go by results, you put her down, right? You put her in Charlotte tier probably. I don't agree with that.
A little in that regard.
I would put her outside of top 5. But I just think that, you know, the potential is there, and just because it hasn't come together yet doesn't mean it's not there. But it's a volatile top tier, you know, like she's volatile. She has to take more risks. Again, that's hard to get through a bracket if you have to.
But there are like some risks that are like doing L Rhapsody neutral. I mean, obviously you have to do it in the 6XL range for it to like matter, right? Which that's where the risk comes in place. But if you fight your character that doesn't have like good lows, and again, like you said, a little volatile because again the best characters usually have these tools. And you also said you don't want to like rate characters too much, but based on like how good they beat up like a mid tier or something. But there's definitely certain characters where that feels unstoppable. And like others, again, like you think about like Siegfried is probably like very good against her. It's like very good anti-airs. The fireball is good against her. He has got a good 6XM, right? A lot of good ways to shut that down.
She also doesn't have the stability that we talked about for top tiers, where she does need to play matchups differently. Like she has all these tools, but she can't just be like, you know, she has to play matchups on a case-by-case basis. She can't just be like, I'll do the same thing against everyone. And you know, that also again is going to put your win rate in tournament is going to go down a bit. If we're talking about Parlov, like the peak game states, Zeta creates some of the strongest situations in the game, right? Quite regularly, because the fuzzy is very, very strong, and she can like get it off of most things that she does. And so I think the BC nerf is going to be really interesting for her, because right now you're incentivized to BC on the fuzzy spots, on the FGK spots, but the counterplay to that is, well, either you just let them do it or you parry. Now, though, most of the spots are, well, they're safe jumps, right? And so because they're safe jumps, now you're going to be able to play around the BC without taking a big risk. You know, you can just be like, oh, I'm just going to block for a moment and then 2L or something. And you get rewarded if your opponent BCs now without having to take a big risk. I think that's going to help her a lot, actually. But we'll see if they change anything else about it.
I would argue that I would probably put Lucilius over her, but just based on, you know.
Me too.
I'm kind of downplaying there. I think the fact that she has access to like a couple of like really broken tools kind of clouds the fact of like actually watching her play when like her mid-screen damage a lot of the time is very mediocre. A lot of her buttons are like difficult. Like the medium buttons in neutral are kind of a pain to use in this game in comparison to base game where they were a lot stronger.
That is her biggest weakness for sure.
The mid-screen damage, if she has
these top characters, like she has some matchups where she like really struggles in comparison to like anyone in top 5 basically. You can argue some stuff with Lucilius maybe, but I think like she probably has the worst end of the stick when it comes to the matchup chart. Obviously still like very good, but I do think it's sort of like, oh, it's this good technical character, and therefore like if like some God comes along and realizes her true potential, then everyone realizes how broken she is, and it just hasn't happened. Like, and some really good players on the character as well, and like, you know, like Svampin, for example, is obviously really good and pretty consistent as well. People have issues with like, what's his name, Japanese player who plays there all the time, Shosan, yeah, being a bit like hyper when it comes to like rolling the dice a lot of the time, but is also a very good player as well. But it's still not like really coming through for her. But that's my take on Zeta, basically.
I think she can make up some of those, like the mid-screen damage. If she does have the meter going to like use spear,
even then it's like it's not a lot compared to like other characters who have 50 meter
no, but you get
mid-screen damage.
Yeah,
but it's the Oki on top of that at the end of it, yeah, of course.
It ends with the Oki as well. That's the thing, right? I would agree with you.
But
if the corner carry, like if your corner carry routes didn't end in good Oki, I would agree with that. But, you know, because if you're comparing like other characters with good mid-screen damage, they don't get the same Oki. I mean,
yeah, like Zeta from like 2M use spear gets like 5k, right? With the optimal combo.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not easy to do. Right, it's like easy to do. It's like punishable on block, right? So there's like a lot of things, but it's like it's not bad damage either.
I mean, we're acknowledging that there's a potential thing here, right? Because again, just looking at results, the results aren't there, right?
It's the character, right?
Yeah, I mean the results aren't fully there, but I mean I've played enough against Svampin and Bread who like know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of a Zeta that is clicking on all cylinders, and I think it's possible. I do think it's possible to get there, and we also talked about how, you know, the good characters, they can punish you for autopiloting. And it's like, you get so many interactions of 6XL, wiggle, 6XL, back and forth, that it's not that, I don't think it's that hard to like pick your spots with the Rhapsody. I wouldn't want to be in that position of being in bracket and like playing against someone you've never played before and having to be like, oh, they're going to 6XL now, I'm going to Rhapsody. But whiffing a Rhapsody, if they didn't go in, obviously if they run in and punish you, that sucks. But if they didn't go in, like you're not guaranteed to eat a combo or something, right? Like you can Rhapsody and then, you know, like do one of the follow-ups at some timing to try and get out of it. And the reward is massive. Yeah. And the reward is massive. So I do think that, you know, I trust these players. I think they're good enough to do this. I mean, I've seen how good they are when they're clicking. And I do think they can learn to, you know, find the consistency that is needed, you know. But again, it's just my opinion. And I wouldn't put her over the characters in top tier that are proven to belong there 100%, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. I would put Lucy over her for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to make the comparison with, like, say, Grimnir's, like, corner Oki once he gets there with 50 meter versus Zeta's, where it's like, if you, like, guess correctly on the fuzzy, basically, with Zeta, then she's a lot of the time kind of done with her pressure. And whereas, like, Grimnir, you're still in hell with all the seals all around you and that kind of thing. But
yeah, that
I mean,
makes them top two.
I mean,
right?
you can continue the argument like some of the time or something like that, because we're just going on. Vasaraga, character everyone enjoys playing against. Anyone want to jump in on this one?
I would put him in the good
Mid-tier volatile. Yeah. I would put mid-tier volatile.
I think he can be. It's like with the Lancelot, where I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. I think he's better than Lancelot. Is he? I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm seeing this trend a little bit where I think the characters that I would put in mid-tier volatile, I think, like, you think are like a little bit better.
Can we change the name from mid-tier volatile to like strong but volatile matchups or something? Because that's like the kind of the point, right? They're stronger than the consistent. The other ones are like consistent but mid, right? And these are like strong but like volatile matchup.
Yeah, that's why it's Meteor Volatile.
Yeah. Yeah, volatile sounds bad. Like, move it over. The Grand should not be up there.
I mean, you can put the. I'm completely fine with putting the volatile ones higher. I think the volatile ones have more reason to play them. You know, like, yeah, I'm not picking Gran if I can pick Belial, but Vasaraga and Luwane give me something that no other character gives me. So I understand that. Like, there's more use for those characters in the meta.
100%.
They have their niche, you know? And Lance is like that too. I mean, that's why I put Lance in there. But, yeah, I think Vasaraga, I'm not well equipped to... Like, I understand the character, what he does, but I don't have the experience to speak on him to a large degree. I do think, you know... Like, looking at NA, there's obviously more strong Vasaraga players in NA.
We have some pretty good ones over here. It's just they don't enter much.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Mundo is good, obviously, but, like, we don't have anyone like Fusilit who's, like, performing that way in brackets, right? And so, I'm kind of hesitant.
BSG or something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, BSG, of course, too. But I was thinking, like, the stuff you see on Twitter is like, oh, there was an online bracket, Fusilit won, you know? But
JF literally won yesterday at the South American Invitational. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, we just don't have anybody that competes. And like, but like, that's also what we said, right? It's like a European tier list. And it's hard to, like, you can just bandwagon, right? You put the character where everybody else puts them, but like, that's not fun, right? Like, you want to like have that, you want it to be based on experience and knowledge, right? And like, we don't really have that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's hard. Like, until you're playing it yourself, it's always easy to think you're going to do better. It's like, oh, you press into armor again. Come on, you know? And then it's like, oh, you're stagger pressuring and your opponent does command grab and you didn't backdash it, even though you could have, you know? Like, there was nothing stopping you. You weren't in recovery. You could have pressed backdash on your, you know, backdash macro on your stick, and or pad or whatever. And so, like, when I see that, I can't help but think, like, I think if I played the matchup, I probably couldn't do it better now. But I feel like if that matchup was relevant for me in my region, I feel like I would do that better. And it's like this kind of arrogance that just comes from viewing instead of playing yourself. You know, it's always easier backseating, but I can't help it. Like, that is still how I feel, and that's why I can't rate him that highly, because I see too many situations where I feel like, oh, you know, if this matchup, like, if I had to play this matchup every top 8, I'd do better. But, you know,
I get it. I feel like when I watch him sometimes, I feel like the meta build is like absolutely insane. So he like gets to put these situations like a lot on you, but at the same time, to get started and to make something work, he has to do stuff preemptively. He has to be like, oh, I'm in this spacing.
Yeah.
If they do something, you fireball, they explode, right? But like, if you wait for it, and it comes and you spot dodge it, that is so bad for him. Like, I'm sure he still gets to like armor up or something, but that's still 50 meters down the drain, and like he doesn't have that 5 million times, right, in a match. So like, every like spot dodge U fireball, or like every avoided command grab, or like every blocked U tackle, even if you don't punish it, like that takes like one chance of him to like get something started. And obviously it's also like matchup dependent and stuff, but I do feel like that, you know, there's like consistency that can be played into it.
Yeah. Most characters in the game you cannot slow down against. Him you absolutely can. And people like, often I feel like they play as if you can't. Because it is good to 6XL him. He struggles with 6XL, but that doesn't mean, like, because if you get too predictable, it's kind of like Rhapsody, only way riskier, you know? Where if you hit that U tackle when they do their 6XL to M or something, they are gonna explode, of course, right? And so, like, learning how to keep him in the corner and, you know, play around his tools, not overextending, being like, okay, you know what? If you're gonna stock up now, also you can react to stock up and punish it with a lot of characters, right? And that's not something that I feel like is done enough, where people are just tweaking to the 5U and punishing him.
But it's definitely
yeah. No, it's not easy, you know. But it's just like, we were talking about, again, potential more than results. I think he belongs in the volatile tier, not
the strong but volatile.
Yeah, not the consistent. I mean,
yeah. What I would say on Vasaraga is, if you're a really strong Vasaraga player and you have the ability to travel in the upcoming World Tour,
Yeah,
it might be a
copy-
good idea to hop over to Europe, and you might have a very good shot of winning in this region. It is a matchup that you do need to know how to play, and if you go in with your standard game plan, then you will die a lot of the time. They have 50,000 gimmicks that they can catch you with. If you haven't seen before, you will get hit by. They've got a command grab, so you can't just like sit and wait for your turn a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But on the other side of things, I don't think he is that good a character if you're playing the matchup correctly. And there are so many situations where he feels so incredibly weak as a character. Like Vasaraga without 50 meter just feels like one of the worst characters in the game when you're playing against him, because you can just do anything you won't like against him.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like he kind of rose up slowly in the list, I think, over time. And I mean, he got buffed, but even without that, I think it would have happened somewhat. Yeah, he's definitely hard to play against. I completely agree. Come to Europe.
And it's not like the list where he is right now is bad either, right? Like I also think Loane is not that bad either. Like where they are, it's good. I mean, you can definitely like.
I look at this list and see. I feel like Vass is like higher than he should be. Maybe like looks a bit better with all the other characters we've got.
Yeah, some characters are gonna.
Yeah.
That's like the list where Percy is. Like half the characters down there will end up there. So. Actually, let's do that. Let's go to Versus,
Versus, Versus belongs on that tier, I think.
100%.
Which one, sorry?
Versus
next to Percy, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a character who, for a while we didn't see that much representation. I mean, she was popular from the start, but people she kind of got that rep of being like a complicated character, but it turns out actually but like it turns out what the most important skill on her is defense, right? Because like she gets massive rewards off of mashing you out of your pressure, and she can do that very well with like long reaching 5L and 2L. So in being able to go into auto combo from ranges where other characters can't, like she just, to me, she fills that niche that Vasaraga had in base game, where it's like it feels like you're always winning, but then he hits that 2M and you die, right? And if you're playing against someone who has good defense, very scary to pressure her, even though she should be helpless. And so I think that's her, like massive damage off of fuzzy mashing, good tools in neutral, some annoying stuff like 5-8 whiff cancel, but mostly just reward, man. It's just the rewards there.
Yeah, she definitely seems like a Gamera character.
Yeah. It's like
more
how well I can hit my opponent while they run it.
Like initially when I first heard of it, I was like, well, that's kind of odd given like what she does and how she plays. But then you actually see what she's strong at and see how he actually plays, and it's like, oh, it makes all the sense in the world at that point. But,
well, people thought she was a zoner at first, right? Like, oh yeah, how can I zone with all these? Like, no. Well,
yeah, I mean, even like months down the line, it was sort of like there's a bunch of tools that she had that like nobody was using except like the really good players who like went into it and saw like, oh, actually like the follow up to the DP that she does. Basically, it's not actually a DP, but the DP motion is like actually really good and a great way of like getting in, applying pressure, create like a little mini mix up with a high low, because it's like difficult to actually block that. There's like the L dash forward, which is like slightly minus on block. It's just a jump scare that you can immediately like get someone with who's trying to pressure you. There's also like the run stop stuff that is really good as well. So definitely like the pillars and the balls and stuff, definitely not like the best tools in her kit, even though they're the ones that you see like people using like the vast majority of the time in preference to other ones.
Yeah,
I think there's like a different conversation to be had that I want to have at some point. I just want to like briefly get on. It's like I really dislike the new character comes out and like the conversation, people will gravitate towards something and then it will just spread like wildfire, and then everybody's like view of a character just gets shaped. They like bandwagon off it, right? One person says character bad, like I don't know, good rewarded, but too much effort, not good enough, has no DP, right? And then that will get like mimicked by everybody in the scene, because people they heard, oh, the top player said this, so I'm gonna say this as well. And then, like, for the next 3-5 months, everybody will just say the same thing. And, like, it's so tiring. It happens with every DLC character, some of the modern fighting games in general. And I really dislike
Unless
that.
a character is overtly broken, they're always underrated at the start, you know, because it takes some time to get used to them. And
People are
every
so
character,
comfortable.
most characters have flaws. Like, everyone wants to have an opinion, you know.
Yeah,
I
people are
remember
so
when Vayne came
comfortable.
out. I remember when Vayne came out, and it was like 2 weeks out. I didn't play the game much when Vayne came out, and so Vayne came out, and it was like he's been out for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm like, and someone asked me about Vayne. I was like, I don't know. It's like I don't know anything about this character. I don't even know what he does really, you know. And it's like be comfortable to say that you don't know something. Beatrix came out. She was obviously top tier, and people said she was top tier, and she was top tier. Some DLC characters are like that, but I can tell, like right now, like Sandalphon is about to drop, and it's going to be one of those two things. Either people play with him a bit and they realize he's broken. By broken, I mean obviously top tier, belongs in like the red tier. If he doesn't belong, obviously in the red, he's going to be underrated. Like mark my words. He's gonna be on. Actually, with his like the way he works with the stocks, maybe it could be a bit more complicated because some people are like, no, actually, wind is really sick. Believe me, like that's how you're supposed to play him. So there could be a bit more going on.
There's gonna be like one clip where he explodes on wind, and everybody's gonna say the character is volatile and can't do it or some. Why play him when you play Belial? And again, it's like it's so insane to me. Like people are like so comfortable rating other opinions that they heard. And like it's not like when it should be the opposite, where it's like you should be comfortable like admitting that you don't know, right?
Yeah, and I mean he is gonna take some time to figure out. Like even if he's obviously broken, people are not gonna play him the correct or optimal way. They're gonna play him the easiest way possible. And I don't like, you know, I don't want to talk about other games so much, but like you see the same thing with Mai, you know, like Mai came out. I don't know if our viewers like.
It's literally every modern fighting game.
But like, you know, Mai comes out and it's like she's got one move that's obviously really strong, EX fans, and then everyone in the Street Fighter sphere is like, oh, you know, she's just an EX fan merchant. Because all the strong players that play her day 1, day 2, they try to find a game plan that works. And the game plan that works initially is just doing the strong thing, of course, and you're building around that. But as opponents get better at dealing with that, you plug in the gaps where it's needed, right? And so I think that's frustrating for me because it's like just because EX fans is obviously the simple and good thing to do doesn't mean that that's the only thing the character can do, you know, but like give it some time. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's a separate.
I mean, I agree.
I'm very passionate about this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we invite you. There's so much to yap about.
Yeah.
Namaya. Let's talk about Namaya. Recent winner, I mean second place, sorry.
I think she's in the first tier as well. Like sometimes she gets. I feel like at the moment she only gets like underrated. Like nobody's like putting her like that high, honestly. And like I can see it. It's fair to think that way, but I also just think that like she has like a lot of good tools. And Moonflip is like so. And Moonflip is just so good. Like if you even if you have a DP, like dealing with it is so hard because like it's so hard to judge the spacing on it, whether it's gonna cross up or not. And it's also so fast too. So
I mean, it's just a good move. It's one of those reactive tools, like that you can react to, that doesn't quite get to the point where in top level play it's bad, right? Like you have those moves that like Moonflip, they're like, oh, they're really, really good in intermediate level play, and then at top level play they fall off. I don't think Moonflip particularly falls off. The reward is just too high. You know, there's all kinds of reasons why it can work. Your opponent pressed a button like a heavy, or you know, even if they manage to like they whiff a medium, they can block it, but they have to block it, and now you're side switched. Like those are all like valuable situations that come up, right? And so that's really good. And
like you want consistency. The problem is like with the risk reward right now, it's like if you fuck up an anti-air, she gets full combo of it because it doesn't launch anymore, right? So the risk reward isn't even that good if you like, oh, I'm gonna go for a 2H. Because it's like even. And if you can't, again, if you don't have the best 2H or if you can't recognize the spacing, you'd rather like go for an air throw or DP or something. And then it's like, you know, she doesn't give a shit. Like get hit by an air throw, who cares? If she hit the Moonflip, like she gets like a lot of the times too, like near the corner, it's like a side switch. And then if she gets like full combo into the corner, it's so huge, it's insane. It's like imagine like Charlotte or Demon Flip would cross up.
Yeah, and the thing that's like highlighted often as our weakness is mid-screen damage, and it's true. I mean, right? But I mean, Siegfried It's not the same thing. He has more mid-screen damage than her. But you know, like having low mid-screen damage doesn't mean that you can't be a really good character. And I think there's a lot of situations where you're still pretty far away from the corner, where she can go auto combo you Setsuna and just like still gets like a super strong corner combo.
And honestly, it's like not like these characters can't have weaknesses either, right? Like if Cat hits you mid-screen without a trap or without 50 meters, she gets like nothing.
I mean, there's a reason we don't put her in the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh.
so not I don't think she's top tier, but I do think she belongs there.
I mean, she feels like very. I don't know. I don't want to say honest because of the flips, but like there isn't like a ton that you're like scared of in like neutral or like when you're playing up against her or like applying pressure on her.
Definitely. If you ask me, I would definitely like say Percy's better, Vesusia's better, Kag is better, right? So like,
I agree with you. I think she's I think she's consistent. You know, like we're not gonna make another tier, but if we're talking about like top tier, like consistent volatile, like Kag is more volatile than her, right? But I think she's good and she's consistent and just like in a very boring way. She's good in a boring way.
It's
I agree that like
type thing, so it feels kind of like difficult when you compare it to like these characters like Kag and like Vesusia and Percy on the same tier are these really good, obviously broken tools. So that's why like I would feel like better about her on a lower tier at this point, but I can see it as well when I compare it to the tier lower than them. Like Maya does like a lot of stuff a lot better than them, so it's pretty awkward. Like not going to create another tier over it, obviously, but
I don't think the Moonflip is. I agree. Like as much as people hate on Moonflip, like the Moonflip isn't the reason she's there. You know, it's her.
I mean, Moonflip before was weaker, and she was already there before.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, move on to Sora's. Before skill existed, you would see Sora's here a lot of the time. Now, where are we putting Sora's?
That's like I think Sora's is like similar to Anre, where like when the game came out, people will, because they don't have the experience, they will just simply base it on the way they were in the game before, right? Where I was like, I don't see this character, I don't know exactly what he does, but I'm gonna assume he's probably somewhere in the middle, right? That was like the you know what people would say. But it's like experience obviously makes a difference because you actually see the character and get to play the character on a top level, and that makes such a huge difference. And like feel like if you do, and if you watch this game, and it's not just playing, like just watching really good Sora's play. I mean, specifically watching Skill play the game, I think you will understand that this character is a little underrated. Yep.
Yeah, I think if it's like looking at Charlotta, I think that's a good comparison, right? We're talking about a character that is in some ways lacking in neutral. It depends on the matchup, okay? But like, I think most people would say Source is kind of lacking in neutral. But we're talking about a character that has a 6XL that is very good, you know, and that just makes up for so much. I think that his mid-screen damage, we talked about like characters' weaknesses being mid-screen damage. For him, it's a strength, but he's not losing out on corner damage because of it. Like his damage mid-screen and in the corner side. Then we're talking about a character like Lil Wayne, who's like, oh, his effective health is higher. Well, Source is not. It's not his effective health that's higher. His health is higher. You know. So these are all things, and we're putting someone like Abel really low because of his low health. And talking about how bad that is. I think all of these things combined, Source being able to have like plus, like he has 214H is a move that you can always do to extend your pressure, but also leaves you quite close to your opponent and does significant chip damage. And so you can just cycle through the cooldowns as you're pressuring, and you're making progress in terms of like killing your opponent. You know, even if you're not hitting them. There's stuff like you know, punch as well, but I think he belongs in the. And this is a hot take. This is like the EU hot take, or like also my hot take. I do think he belongs
on this channel.
I think he belongs in the tops you can downplay. I do think he belongs like,
100%,
next to Ramaya.
100%. It's just I feel like people, even to this day, which is ridiculous. Like the game's been out for over a year, but I feel people like still underrate what a good 6XL does. Like I remember like end of base game, like playing versus Percival for medium, it's like hell. Like if you don't have like great buttons or like the damage to offset it.
Yeah.
It's like playing against one of the best 6XLs in the game is really, really tough. It's like playing in general, like the ranges he can play in is so tough because like if you're playing in a 6XL range, he's effectively usually playing a better game than you because he can outrange your 6XL and usually outdamages you mid-screen, right? If then if you play a bit further out, right? Like if you want to like, oh, I don't want to like play that game into him. I would rather like, you know, since he's like so slow, you can play from a further out. You can zone a little bit. You can like poke him, right? Then you play that game from further out, and some other characters that would be that slow might not have like the tools to still play a game at that range, but he does because he's got the punch, right? Yeah. Suddenly, like he can be outside your poke range and outside 6XL range and still threaten you with stuff that used to be not that big of a deal in the old game, where it's like, oh, he does M punch, you react, you do because the game's slower, right? You react, M punch, you get hard knockdown, you go to town. Yeah. Now it's like you DP that M punch, who cares, right? It goes back to neutral.
He also didn't have much that he could do, you know. Even if you block like the punch, or you block the punch in general, even if you get hit by the punch, it leaves you at a range. You're quite far away from him, and like what does base game Zorus do? Is he gonna run up and throw you from there? He's slow as fuck, but. Yeah. You know, it's not the same character anymore. Now you can press 6XL, and you're gonna, you know, suddenly be close and plus again. So you can actually use that. I think his buttons also tended to be underrated. Like in the old game, you know, like
in the old game, he presses himself out, and then what does he do? Nothing. But like in this game, he can just
or like he whiff punishes. You know, like he whiff punishes you with far medium EX punch, and it's like okay, you know, whatever. Now he has a buffer into U-Punch that deals a lot of damage and that you actually have to worry about, you know. He has UDP, which side swaps, you know. So, like, even he struggles getting, like, his corner carry isn't the best in a Void. But even if he gets cornered, he has, like, a very consistent way, with, like, BC counter that every character has, and UDP side swap. He has two ways of, like, switching sides, you know, and you can't play around both at the same time, obviously. And then once per round, if things aren't going well for him, he has high health, so it's hard to like overkill him into that spot. Once per round, he's gonna turn on his SSBA probably on rounds that he's losing, and now he's got access to one of the best supers in the game, you know, and like a very good comeback mechanics. It's worse but similar to Beatrix in that regard, where you know you can, even if things didn't go well, you can still get into a position to win from that point. So I think
like I remember when the game came out, people like arguing that it's like not easy to go into SSBA or something, or they should make like, because like I think in the old game you could like close heavy SSBA and it was UI plus. Like that doesn't work anymore as far as I'm aware. But it's like it's really not that hard for him to go into SSBA. It's like you BC one thing, you go into SSBA, you're somewhere neutral. Like people can't even like when it happens in neutral, post flash, you can't like just press a U skill and punish it most of the time because it just recovers too far quickly, right? Yeah. So it's like super safe to just do it, right? And like there's like no reason not to do it with him because he doesn't spend the meter, right? So it's just really good, like to have that on top of everything. And people don't talk about it enough because. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so why isn't he top tier? Well, you know, I think, like, you know, why can you downplay him? Basically, he actually has bad matchups, you know. Yeah. But I don't think it's bad matchups to the point where you put him in strong but volatile, because the strong but volatile characters, they don't have good matchups against top tiers. They don't really have even matchups against top tiers, but Soros does. And so, you know, like you can stomach losing to someone like Eustace, which he does, according to skill and Miri, you know. He does, like Eustace does win that matchup. So you can stomach losing to Eustace more if you're actually can fight characters like Siegfried, Belial, Beatrix, you know, and he can. So
yeah.
I don't know. From my perspective, I think it's like a little bit overrated here. I feel like the character has very clear weaknesses. I feel like the matchup weaknesses are a lot starker than the ones on the equivalent tier that he's on at the moment. And there's a reason why like skill is like constantly searching for a counter pick on like certain matchups, and it's not just Eustace as well. It's like it's other zoners as well, and it's other characters that can deal with like his pressure a lot better. He is effectively like basically +1 on his 6XLs as opposed to like +2 at far distances because of the 7-frame Farlight. That plays a big factor in some matchups, which makes it a lot more difficult for him to actually apply that pressure. He can like do hard reads in those situations as well, but it's a lot weaker than a lot of other characters in that situation. But as you were saying, like actually playing the 6XL game itself against a lot of the top tiers, I'd say like a few of them have like pretty good matchup into Sora's in my opinion. But it's definitely more well placed than the characters below him, I would say. But yeah, I think it's very much like skill is like a really good player, so we're overemphasizing Sora's strengths.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's like, it's hard to say these things, right? But like the experience like goes a bit of both ways, right? Like you see what the character can be, but also you will overrate the character a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you got to go by what you see. You know, like I'm not denying if I never met Skill, I would probably put him either in the Loane tier or maybe even in the Able tier, you know, because until Skill showed up and like started playing the way he does, and my preconception of the character was, oh, you know, I just win with buttons, and if he tries to punch in, I DP him on reaction, and that just isn't true. Like that game plan isn't legit. Like you can't just do that. I mean, those are like, there's aspects to that, of course. You know, you can DP a punch now and then, but that's not going to solve the matchup for you. And so I do think that he's like a strong character in his own right. And it's just, if you try to play a slugfest with him, you're going to lose, unless you're maybe Belial or Beatrix. I don't know, but like you can't go toe to toe with him, like back and forth.
You definitely
and win
spots.
Yeah.
But, like you block a Farlight against Sora's, and then his turn is essentially like kind of over at that point. Like as opposed to other characters who are like a plus in that situation, he's essentially 0 unless he goes for like a 623H, and that's like a really bad point in any matchup, for example.
But don't you think
like,
he does the same thing to you on your 6XL pressure? Like if I go 6XL with Siegfried, and obviously like it's usually going to be spaced. You know, like you can get the Farlight sometimes, but let's say it's spaced and it's like 6XL and I'm out of range. I can't just freely press 2M the way I can press in other matchups because he has 623H, right? So I think he kind of, on defense, obviously you can't just always do 623H, I get that, but the punishes are very anemic for a lot of characters, you know, depending on the spacing.
I mean, yeah, obviously like, there's characters that can't punish it and that kind of thing, but
yeah.
Doing like a punishable move in that situation which is usually a bog standard, very safe situation for a lot of other characters is, you know, obviously there's like rewards from it and that kind of thing, but I don't think it's good for the character.
I think arguing whether like that you can do like the up kick in those gaps. I mean, I don't even want to like argue that. I just think like
I'm talking about a very specific situation when we're doing like a general like Tierlist thing, but like
I think one thing I feel like nobody talks about with Soros is how strong his spacing traps are. Because everything he does, and like, I mean, that goes both ways, right? Like, he doesn't go into throw range that much, but also like knowing this game, and you know this game, and how the game gets played on the highest level, with a character that does good chip damage and has high health. Now, you watch Skill play, and it's like he will take it safe, right? Take it slow, goes for chip, take his time, you know, get eventually like some mid-screen hit, whatever, and like he just eventually like wins over time, right? Like he's fine with playing the long game because the character can definitely play that long game, right? So like, yeah, his turn is gonna end eventually, but he's gonna be pressed out so much that like challenging at that point is not easy, right? So it either goes back to neutral in like a 6XL range where he feels comfortable, or you press immediately and then you have to worry that like it whiffs, because again, everything he does constantly spaced, like, you know, it's like punch on block spaced, right? Even the -1s, right? Like it's spaced, right? The 6XL spaced very well because his travel, like it goes really far, but he doesn't travel that far, right? So it's like spaced, then he does like the multiple punches, he's plus, but it's spaced again, he does like Farlight, it's spaced again. So like constantly, like even as a Catalina, like I have like very good long buttons, but like pressing like 2M does not feel as good because the character is so good at spacing outside those ranges, and he has the buttons to make up that distance. You know, the 6XL. And I feel like people know what he talks about that. And it's such a huge deal, in my opinion.
Well,
it's like, yeah, sure, the turn ends, but like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, people usually don't play in that reduced way. You know, they look at the character like, what can the character do? What are his specials and stuff? And if you look at the character this way, he's underwhelming. Like, you look at his 5U, situational usage, you can do a funny BC blow up, whatever, you know. Then you look at like his strike throw game, and it's like he pushes himself out relatively quickly, and he doesn't have a good way. Like, he doesn't have the Belial EX Fireball to just go in again, you know. 2-3H, which is a good move. Still, after that, he's spaced, right? Like, he's further out. So his throw game isn't that scary. But like you said, in top level play, it's more about slowly getting an advantage over time. And he can play that game, you know. He can just wait. He stays disciplined, and he takes his turn. He uses his cooldowns. Now it's your turn. Then now it's his turn, and you're going like back and forth in that way. And I think that favors him because of the chip damage, because of the high health, and because if you do get hit, even by just a 2M or something, even like a stray hit, he doesn't even need to confirm it, right? Like, he can just go on defense as well. He can just dial 2M into 214H. It's good on block and it's good on hit. And
it's yeah. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, it's 2-4. It's 2-4.
You're right. You're right.
Like the flurry, and so, you know, it's a very consistent way of playing that I think is good, and, you know, being able to.
Yeah, like, it reminds me a little bit of like the way Siegfried was played for a long time, and like still is being played, right? Where like the slow.
Yeah, you just
chipping.
Yeah, chip back and forth. All right, so. Who's next? Zoe.
So yeah, that was the big Yap ones. There's some interesting ones coming up. I think those were like the biggest ones we want to talk, because like Zoe is obviously the big EU
skills the EU hot take.
Yeah. So we've got Zoe now. Zoe, probably not like super represented in like EU tournaments, but there is a very good Zoe in like Ixis online, for example, that people run into. So
I think
might have a good perspective on this.
Volatile thing is not bad, honestly. But yeah, go ahead.
I think the only conversation we're gonna have is if she's boring or volatile. And I think matchup. Now we kind of really have to decide if we're gonna make it based on how she plays or matchups, because I think she has the tools to make every matchup fine. Yeah, you know, like, I don't think outside of like top tiers, which, you know, is true for everyone, Grand too. Outside of top tiers, like, she has a tool for every job. You know,
she probably doesn't have like super volatile
matchups. Yeah, because like there's so many different things that she could do that are all like kind of mid. Like, there's nothing like Grimnir or something that she can do, but she has many tools and they're all okay. And so because of that, I think I would put her in boring, because I would rather talk about matchups there than how the character plays. You know.
I mean, we can remove the boring Dudeakoff to
just
make Tatsu mad.
No, I'm just doing stuff. It's fine.
Because Zoe is cool. I like
consistent and cool.
Yeah. So
in some
UL,
I think UL also belongs in the tier, by the way.
Yeah, same.
I mean, often you see Yule in this sort of tier, or the bottom end of this sort of tier. I do think like people don't understand like what makes Yule good in this game. They're just kind of still talking about like the farm medium as like the sole thing that Yule does, but her setup's like really strong, especially on pressure. Like, she can do her UDP safe stuff that still catches people out all the time.
That's a reason. That's go ahead.
Consistent rewards.
Yeah,
there's a reason why like a lot of Japanese players go for safe jumps, right? Because like that is like, you can't UDP against this shit, and like she literally has safe meaties that are UDP safe, right? Where like you have to hold the first thing, and then what comes after, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like far medium. I mean, I mentioned it previously, but like it's actually like a really good space control tool in this 6XL game, which is like a big rarity as well.
Yeah.
Like, you see someone running in, you can far medium, then if it's on block, it's not the worst thing in the world, and that kind of thing. Like, the anti-airs are obviously like really good. They're like probably like, I don't know, second to like someone like Vera in terms of like how consistently they get off with the anti-airs, and it goes into like huge combo.
Yeah.
The SSBA is not like as bad as it was before as well, which I also wanted to mention.
Yeah, it was a little restored, and you have like Jump U as well, which is, you know, it's not
It's
the
an
best
air
air stall, but it's an air stall, you know. And so I think adding all of that up, her also being so fast.
It's speed, yeah. I wanted to go into that. I think people still to this day do not understand how important speed is in this game, right? And having a 8-frame close heavy, right? Having a very fast dash speed, that matters so much. And like that's also why like I personally would rate Vera higher than you would usually see people rate her, right? Or like why Seox is even as good as he is or as he was in the old game to begin with, right? That people don't talk about because the speed. I mean, the speed matters so much. And like I would rather play a character. But I'd rather play a character like that where it has like the fast, like the fast buttons and the fast dash speed than like let's say like.
And the forward advancing moves and specials as well is also really good.
Yeah, and like 2-U is unironically a really fucking strong U skill. Like she can like from any poke, like not a light, but like from 2M she can like confirm or like just go into 2-U, and like worst case you're like +4.
And the changes to stance as well, in the sense that like, I mean like everyone hates the changes to stance, but they're actually like good for the character in the sense of like winning the match. Like people complain about Beatrix doing 5U at the end of matches all the time, but like Yul can essentially do like a 50-50 / guess on like the end of any match as well. And also like one of those options is a full combo as well, instead of just like Oki all over again. There's not much you can do about that beyond like guessing, which sucks, but like it is good for the character and a strong tool for her, which is why they always go for it.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about the 5U thing. It's kind of hard for me. They're so different that I can't really,
I mean, Beatrix, your plant grab is obviously like that gives you clock is obviously better, but like I mean, in terms of like
no. I mean old UL and new UL.
Oh, okay.
Like it's hard for me. They're so different that it's hard for me to compare them. But I see your point of like, it actually closes out the game, and I think also 214H has gotten so much worse because the way people pressure is like dashing and doing a long range 6XL. So sometimes you're just gonna like go like 2L far light, dash forward, you see she does it, and then you can like hit her out of it with your 6XL. But it's still a defensive option in a game that is lacking defensive options. And, in a lot of matchups, it's just gonna be able, you're gonna be able to get out of something that you otherwise couldn't get out of.
Yep.
And just because there's counterplay doesn't mean it's useless, So I think for all of those reasons, she definitely is underrated. I think because you said like people put her there or one lower. I see her more one lower, I feel, but maybe I'm not looking at enough.
Yeah, I see her more one lower as well.
Yeah.
So I'll say where she is, but I can put one lower if you want.
No, just keep it that.
No. I think that's
good. But yeah, I mean, last point was like a similar thing to Sora's in terms of like the rushdown versus zoners without the tools, like the ignorant tool to be able to get past those zoners. It can be a struggle for a lot of players of the character as well. But I don't know, it's less relevant to the meta because of how bad zoners are. Yep. But yeah, anyway. Moving on to Uno. Pocket's too big, Uno. Where are we putting him?
I don't know if this is a hot tag, but I would put him next to Soros.
This is the coldest take you can imagine, Socky, I'm sorry.
Alongside Grimnir and
I disagree
Zeta,
with the take, but
well, alongside like Grimnir and Zeta and Vasaraga, those are like the kind of characters. Well, Zeta and Grimnir are hard to rate because of what we talked about earlier when we talked about them. Uno, I feel similar to Vasaraga, where I just feel like he's clearly good. Like there's no way where he's mid tier at this point because he has both the theory and the results. Right?
Yep.
So he's either good Charlotta tier or tops you can downplay. I don't think he belongs to the top tier.
No.
So he's one of those. And if I'm going to choose one of them, I'd rather take the higher one just because, we talked about like admitting not to know something, right? And in this case, like I don't fully see it. I see Osakana-san play and like he's clearly super good. He's a super good player. I see some stuff where like, is that really so hard to deal with? And, because when I play against our Uno players and they do a dive kick, like jump 2-2H, is it right? I can DP or super that on reaction, and I think it does restrict how you can use it if that's a threat, and I don't see people do that. And so then I'm thinking like, oh, maybe everyone just sucks. In this case, I can't say that though. The character has too many results and too many levels. There's too many things that are good about him.
Well, his 2 and 4H, this J2 and 4H, unironically at times feels like a better like Seox 2 and J2 and 4H at this point. Like that's a spacing where like similar where Bubs does like.
I mean,
there's
defensively as well. Yeah.
Not just there's a spacing similar where like Bubs would do like TK H dive, where he can just do it and gets plus frames or go over whatever you do.
Yeah, that's
not even as a throw. Yeah, and not even as a throw bait, and like it's
just like Cammy. It's like your Cammy. You're just pressing like 2 buttons and then you do it, and your opponent presses 2M, and you like clip their 2M.
And it's not like that's the only thing he's got going, right? Like he has so many things. He's got like 6XL conversions. He's got use skills at corner carry. He's got
5U
really
situationally
good.
really
His
good.
reversal is unironically really, really strong. Like what's his zoners too? Like that's kind of like so funny that like he has like a parry that's like full screen. And like I don't know what he doesn't have. Like the only thing he doesn't have is like good Abara, right?
Yeah,
I feel like he's massively overrated by people at the moment. Like everyone's putting him in like top tiers, and I don't really see it. The throw bait tool is very good, and you can vary it up a lot of the times to be able to deal with whatever option your opponent is doing. Like you can even do like funny wacky stuff where like you jump up to go and do it, and then like you just jump over their heads and they just like DP in the opposite direction. You go and punish them afterwards, which is fun. I mean, there's also like 5U gimmicks and stuff like that, but that's not really too strong. But like his J214U throw bait, I mean J214H, sorry, throw bait is like, you say it's better than Seox, but the whole reason why Seox is so good is because his pressure is like a lot better than Uno's, and he can get into that range where he's threatening throw to be able to do that like so much more often than Uno can. Like he struggles to get into that range, and he does get into that range a lot of the time because people respect him way too much at a far distance.
I'm not gonna pretend like Seox is like worse. It's just like at times you see it being used
in isolation
the same way, like in a mid range as like Bub's dive and Seox fireball, and like the more often than not, like 9 out of 10 times, it usually like it goes well, right? Like it's like I've never like seen an Uno do it and like something bad happens, right? Like maybe like sometimes like if you play,
I mean,
play with his
he
Fitizen, you get
hit.
SSB8 or whatever, but like most of the time that shit flies for
He's
free.
usually getting hit before the point he gets into the range that he can do that type of thing. That's the thing. Like he doesn't have the opportunity to do that a lot of the time as well. Like obviously it is a really good tool, and when he can do it, it's good. Yeah, because people like the only reason he does get away with it because people respect the far buttons too much. Like he can barely get anything off his far buttons all the time. Like the best he can do with meter is like far light into like 2-on-4U a lot. Like he like at long range as well, like his like zoning isn't particularly friendly, it's very like kind of restrictive. There's a lot of reliance on like kind of gimmicky stuff a lot of times from Unos as well when it comes to like doing the 6-2-3 into dash forward and that kind of thing. But if you're talking like the best things about the character, like the best things about the character is if he gets a hit mid screen, he can convert into like the 1-frame 6XL into a full combo, which like transfers them to the corner from like pretty much almost anywhere on the screen, which is really nice, but it relies on you getting that hit in the first place. And also, if you get it off the J214H as well, you can't like go into auto combo after 6XL because there's been too many hits and you get pushed out too far. His install is incredible. Like people, like obviously like people know about the install now, but like Unos in our region have only started using it properly as well. Like that's the best thing about the character. That's the thing you should be using all the time. Like the install, you just get infinite pressure. You're able to do your like J214H whenever you want, but you don't even need to do J214H. You can just do JU. Go for lows off that. The 2U is very difficult to react to as well, so you get caught by that a lot of the time. That's the best thing about the character.
Very good.
But like, I don't see him as like even like. I feel like Lancelot being better is an argument. I feel like Jita being better is definitely an argument. I feel like Jita is better than Uno. I think Charlotte is better than Uno. So I could put him like down 2 tiers at this point.
Maybe that's the hot take. Hot take police.
Maybe that. I mean, the thing is, see, your take is more informed than mine, so I'm inclined to agree with you because
like, I don't know. I feel like his take is also like based on the fact that he plays like maybe like a really good matchup versus Uno in Seox. Like, and then I don't want to be like, oh, you're like biased or something. But I get what you're trying to say. But I also feel like,
I don't feel it's that easy to challenge.
Like if you base it off of like your experience playing against Unos in Europe, I don't know.
I watch the best Uno Sockycast, and like a lot of the times he is in that position because of lack of matchup knowledge, or he's got lucky in certain situations, like him winning the what was it? The
Arc
event
Revo
one.
Senzon.
Arc Revo event. Like, if you actually watch those like matchups, especially leading up to top 8, like he should have lost to Toro twice. Like Toro just like fucked up twice, and then that puts him into losers at that point, and he has to go through hell in order to do that. And then there was a few other occasions like that as well in top 8 as well. It was a lot. I think he was like a lot better at Side Games Cup. Like he was a lot more consistent, and like people seem to know the matchup a lot better now. They're more prepared for him.
Yeah.
But
I do think the Grants like
that's one
showed.
tournament basically.
Yeah. Who did he play? The Seahawks, right? In Grants of Arc Revo.
What's his name?
Yeah, it was
it
the
Mapusen?
one. No, the other M. It
Uh,
was like somebody else.
But yeah, like he destroyed that Seahawks, and that was not entirely Osakana-san. So what I mean is, like,
think
you
it's
could tell that the Seahawks player didn't really know the matchup. So yeah, I mean, right.
They did really
I
well
get
at-
it. Like, I mean, if you play an underplayed character, you get that advantage of, you know, people not knowing the matchup as well. And I mean, even now, even having played skill like several times, you know, I still don't know Source as well as I do someone like Beatrix, right? And that matters. So I'm inclined to agree with you and cautiously place him one lower, but because I mean, even like looking at, well, pro results, I was for example Wavy picking Uno, right, in what tournament, Frosty, and like doing pretty well, right? But then you look at it, people are like spot dodging the spiral spear, whatever, all the time, the one he throws forward.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, you know, like you can tell people they really aren't familiar. So I'm willing to put him one lower. That's fine by me, but I don't know about two lower. I do think there's like too much upside here with the install and with you know, the unique tools he has, like the parries. And let's be real, Beak Driver is still good. It's not like Beak Driving someone in neutral isn't good. Like that is still a good move.
Yeah, and like 6038 is really, really strong, and especially the fact that he gets so much off of it too on hit, like into the 6XL. And again, install obviously really strong.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he has so many things, so many little things, and he's got the toolkit too, right? Like he's like one of these characters where like he has the toolkit with 5U, with parry, and his U skills are pretty nice as well,
Well,
right?
the ceiling is there.
Yeah.
Right.
And like it's not like he won like one event, right? He got like second at Side Games Cup as well, and doing relatively well. And that was all first of 3, by the way, right? So it's like
yeah, and like I trust you, Dudeakoff, when you say that like people aren't playing the matchup well, but then there's also this part of me who's just like, remember the Luane, where we're like, you know, you see Luane,
but
like,
no one was overrating Luane, that's the thing as well.
okay, but like you see people like do fine and they still lose, and I feel like I'm willing to say that if it's almost 1 year into the game being out, people and people who know like Osakana-san is going to be at that tournament, they're going to prepare, and if they still struggle, you know, like with the first tournament with Arc Revo, you can say, well, you know, he just showed up and he like boomed.
I mean, he did almost lose round 1 in that Side Games event as well.
Yeah, it's Japan, man. We also
yeah.
struggled.
It was I think it was Shark Movie that he was up against. But that was
that's a good player.
Yeah,
Not
it was
even
like
broke.
round 1.
Don't call it an
That's
upset.
crazy.
Don't call it an upset, but
I mean,
yeah. But yeah, I got you. I get it. So yeah, I think I would put Uno one lower. I'm willing to put him one lower.
Yeah, but if you do, I think he's better than Charlotta for sure.
I think my take is very much against the grain, especially currently. I do think he's kind of like, we do this thing in Grand Blue where like everyone's get like, hey, is Uno the secret to winning all the time?
I got that before.
Then, no, like, is Uno the answer to Nier? Is Uno the answer to like Jita in base?
I mean, that was in base game.
Like,
right?
it feels very much
felt
like
that
that in the current moment, but like I think I think most people would put Uno here, and I'm happy to be in the minority here.
I'm pretty conservative when it comes to like characters like that. Like I want to see. But with Zeta, like that's the big outlier where I'm not conservative because I play against Zeta and I feel like the states she puts you in, you know, and so I feel like I rate it like in a certain way. But otherwise, like I'm pretty conservative. And, like, you know, show me what the character can do.
The only reason why I would rather fight Uno than any of these other characters is because I'm confident they can't 2H me. No offense. But you're gonna fight one Uno that knows how to anti-air, it's over, bro.
I mean, it helps being able to get away with grapple jumps, yeah. Okay. Well, so Eustace. Let's do Eustace.
Okay.
Eustace.
Maybe why do we put Eustace?
I would say tops you can downplay it.
No, shut up. Yeah, I think Eustace creates some really strong game states. I think Eustace might be the strongest character in the game that's held back by bad matchups. You know?
If only we had a tier list. When we only had a tier for that.
Well, yeah, it's strong but volatile. I would put strong but volatile.
He's literally the reason why that tier exists.
Yeah, like Eustace, when not facing one of his his worst matchups is like a beast, and then it's like, oh, unfortunately he has a few of those and they're really bad.
But he keeps Soras out of the top tier, so you know, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. He is the sole reason Catalina isn't top 1 in the game.
I don't actually have a take on that matchup. I have no idea.
No, but I mean, I think Eustace is like the most because with like bad zoners like Metera or whatever, or you know Fairy, or Vikala, you can like say, well, you know, they're just not there. They're not like, maybe it's hard to tell what they really need to be better or whatever. You look at Eustace and you look at some of the things he can do, and they're just so like they're really strong. Like, you know, his extended pressure. Sorry. No, it's fine. Like his extended pressure, you know, where he can keep going, but he can't convert well off of the hits. But like his 6XL is super good, and so he has like this spaced pressure where he does 6XL, far H, you know, 6XL, 2M, throw an 8, and you know, it keeps going. And when that far H counter hits you in the corner, like you're toast. Like that's big damage. That's like Saurus level damage almost. And but he can't like play that game against every character in the game. Like, there's just like too many characters that don't let him zone. He's a true zoner. He can actually zone in this game. But there's so many characters that just, with the drop of a, you know, with just pressing a U-bot skill, they shut him down. Like I play Lucilius, obviously awful matchup for Eustace, and without even talking about stuff like the teleport or that he can pressure me enough to deny blade level, you know, I block 2 fireballs every time Eustace does a fireball or a grenade. He risks his life because I could be pressing U fireball, and it's the same thing against Belial. It's the same thing against Cat, right? Yeah. Where that part is the same. Where yeah, but like I mean, in the sense, the U fireball part. That's what I mean, right? It's the same against Belial. It's the same against Cat. It's the same. Beatrix gets in. Zeta also gets a full combo, right? And so being able to, like, you shouldn't risk your life every time you press a fireball, especially after your opponent just blocked one, because zoning is about your opponent blocked a projectile, and now you get plus frames to work with for your next projectile. It makes the next one safer. The first one is
like getting the fireball on block should be you winning, but it never feels that way in this game.
The first one should be the risky one. So that's why we have spot dodge. Well, if you spot dodge the fireball, now your frame advantage should be better. Now you can act. Like, now you can jump it, right? But if you already blocked a shot, why can't I block one at mid-range, and I can just press my U skill and win against you doing anything? And you can't just sit there and do nothing because you're the zoner. You want to keep me out. And that's like the inherent flaw of the game, where any character that has that shit just struggles against. He struggles against, right? And it's just not... It's not good design. And then you look at characters like Percy. Percy, you know, people say lose to Eustace. I don't know if Mary agrees with this, but I can see it, you know, like he doesn't have any of that. Cat has U Fireball and like insane damage, but outside of that, she does have to play the game. Saurus doesn't have any, like he has U, you know, he has U Punch, but you can like throw a grenade and still block. It's like there are things you can do against him. So in all of those like matchups, Eustace is a functional character, but he's not a functional character against someone like, well, Belial and Lucy and some others. It's just
Beatrix.
not. Beatrix is the big one. Beatrix is the worst one because she doesn't even need the U fireball. She can just riding free under everything. So, just
Yeah, but have you seen this sick left-right U grenade mix-up you can do?
true. But yeah,
Anyway.
it's frustrating to me because I would want him. I like those kinds of characters.
Yeah, he's like a well-designed character that gets fucked on because of the bad parts of Rising, so it's frustrating in that sense, yeah.
If Eustace turns high tier, every zoner rises up with him. Because that means the game changed,
I'm happy with that. But yeah. I haven't got anything to add to it, Eustace. Wasn't said there, to be honest. Socky, you got anything, or should we move on to 2B?
No, it has like so many good tools that you can't like. You look at like a character like Matera or like Fairy, where it's like, I mean, it's a meme. People are like, oh, just jump at them, but it really is the case, right? Like, wow, there's like, oh, there's some, some mix-ups to be played if they're like anti-air with close medium or some shit. But like with Yusuf, that's not how it is, right? Like he has a good 2H, right? He has like set play that force you to do shit, and he's just a good character. Like, I don't know what to say, right? But like again, it's the volatile matchups that just makes it hard for him. So,
2B. A character that's represented in other regions a lot more than it is in Europe. How do we feel?
Uno tier.
So
I think she's kind of nuts.
Uno tier in the sense that I think she should be lower, but then we're putting her anyway. No, I probably put her as well, actually.
Yeah, I would put her in this tier. I've played her after I think 2-H is broken, and so I started playing her thinking that you could just base your whole game plan around it. I think you can. I do think there's some weaknesses she has that start showing against the top tiers, which make me not want to put her in the highest tier. I would put her higher than this though. I would put her above CAG, I think.
Yeah.
I do think she's pretty. I think she's pretty nuts. So if we're ordering, I think she's like just outside of the top tier, not.
What he says, he is the expert.
Not at the bottom of this,
Yeah, I remember my commentary shift. Don't worry about it, Dave.
But she is super good, 100%.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, I can definitely
I'm
see
not
it too,
sure.
because it's like it's not just 2-H, right? There's like a lot of little things, and like I feel like when the game came out, there was like this thing where it's like, oh, she does like canned shit, and you just play the RPS on them, and eventually you will win because like her damage output isn't that high. But that's just not the case anymore. Like, because they buffed a couple of things, so like on counter she gets like more, and like certain tools are like harder to deal with than the other way around. And she just gets so much more reward nowadays. And the fact that she has like essentially like 2 meters that she can like spend to do stuff, right? And then like she got the U fireball that extends the combo extend the U fireball that she can always do when she has the 50 meter. There's just a lot of things, but like other characters in that tier where certain matchups might give her trouble, or the top tiers still outshine her. She's a really good character.
Here's a character that has to, when people are playing against her correctly or like better than close to as good as they can, like she is a character that does end up having to take a lot of like major risks in order to get her big reward off as well. And a lot of times she can't convert into as much damage as she would like, just because of how like the meter is played out, or the current like stocks that she has. So there is a bit more going on there because of that.
I don't know.
Obviously, like 2-H is like a very.
I don't want to downplay that, but I do feel like it gets played up a bit too much. Now, like it gets played up too much.
Yeah,
because if you see like the really good 2B players, like they get a hit and they will convert all of it, and they will have the resources because meter grows on 3s, and it's fine to spend the skill gauge too sometimes, right? Like if you're not wasting it on like doing dumb double jumps in neutral, or doing the hover, like doing like weird like Oki where you do like the hover shit, or like don't throw out like random skills that like doing like I don't know the EX shorts round start. Which, I mean, it's not a bad option, but like you really don't need to spend the skill gauge on that. Yeah. And then like the 50 meter too, like again you play against somebody who's like good at managing this stuff. They will like spend their skill gauge, and then you think you're fine, and then you get hit by like a button into the U laser, and then she gets the full corner carry, and then the stuff is back, right? Like there's so much to be done about it, and then 2-H on top of that, like there's not a lot of characters that get to like turn off the game.
Yeah, I do.
But,
I,
like
she plays on such a different axis as well. It's like I feel like that warrants like more discussion about it or something like that. But I think what you've said there basically sums it up. Like I don't really have a lot more to say, but I mean, like I would say she's about where I'd put her as well. I'd probably put Kag like ahead of her, but I mean, that's like basically meaningless, like one placement or whatever.
Yeah, I think you can argue.
I think it's difficult to rate her. I think anything between the bottom of this tier and the bottom of top tier is like completely defensible. I think if you're trying to put her top 5, I don't see it. But outside of that, you know, it's all like how do you rate certain things that she can do? You know, like she doesn't have 6XL, so it's like more canned pressure. But to make up for that, you know, he has things to make up for that. Certain weaknesses, but also lots of strength. At the end of the day, when 2-2H is on you, you're guessing for high volatility, and there's no way. There's absolutely no way for you to play around 2-2H in a way that is like safe. You know, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna take the throw. Oh, I'm just gonna delay mesh. Oh, I'm just gonna like, you know.
I don't know. Actually, like I've like looked back.
Every time 2-2H is on you, you're taking a risk. You know.
I don't know. I've watched like sets back versus Seiji, and like obviously there's a lot I can do better. But it's like all the games I win is where I did the right thing versus 2-2H on me, and the games I lost is where I did the wrong thing. It's like, you know, that's really how it is sometimes.
Just do the Fate attack. It's easy. 6XL twice and you dodge it.
Yeah, that only works in some characters.
And even then, it's like you can just delay it.
There is a character I feel very passionate
like
about.
Yagami, the greatest EU player in the region at the moment, plays this character, Vera. Where are we putting her?
I think she's good Charlotte tier, don't shoot me.
No, I can see it. I do think there's some. I'm a little hesitant to do it, especially with Lance there. I still don't like the Lance, by the way.
Yeah,
but, like the Lance
it was really early, and like I can shift him now if you want.
I feel like we can even turn this tier into like into the upper like this tier doesn't need to.
I just give them all dumb names. You can change it at the end when you put the tweet out, so it doesn't say like this here, so that you get called out for it later when Ladina wins or whatever.
I just think people underappreciate how much her speed matters.
Yeah,
right. Like
100%.
The anti-airs, right? The speed of her buttons, the speed of her of the character itself. Playing 6XL versus a character like hey, she also has like one of the best 6XMs in the game. So she's like very good. Like her mid range is very good. Her reward isn't. That's like the biggest thing, and that will always, you know, keep her out a little bit. But it's like look at Jita, right? Like Jita's mid screen reward isn't necessarily great either.
I think
I think
the Oki is mad underrated as well. But yeah, you finish your point for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the characters just all of these 3 characters are like, they lose. You know, where the mid tier consistent, they're like they have an even spread, but they lose hard against top tiers. They get like top tier gapped completely. I think those 3, they also lose to all the top tiers, but just by not quite as much. You know, they still get to play the game against them. That's the feeling I get. Secret specifically, and Lucy specifically, I think beat Vera and Jita really hard. So my characters, like, I think I have a lower opinion of the characters because, or it's easy to have a lower opinion of the characters because I think those 2 are really good against Jita and Vera. So because of that, you know, I might not be the best person to talk about this. I don't know how Vera does against Grimnir, or you know, Beatrix or something.
Being fast against Grimnir is always nice. But yeah, I think it's fairly normal for.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything exceptional going on there.
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
I've also like, what's it called? Like she also has like a very like she doesn't have like a U fireball to explode you in the corner, but she has the U Darkane, which is like very very similar principle. Where it's like if you get tripped up on anything, you will explode because
it's a really nice spacing trap.
And it's plus on block. It's nice, yeah. And I mean in general, like obviously when the game starts out, she's a little weak, and she definitely thrives on people giving up. Like if she gets a hit, that leads to setting up Lumi, and Lumi means, I mean, best case you get hit. But even like on the bad case, I mean, if they can't hit you, it usually means they have to give up space. Which means I feel like because of that and because of how fast she is, so like she like automatically forces you to play either a bit further out or just close up.
Yeah.
And if you do that like further out thing, I feel like you give up more space versus her than the average character, which I feel like long term, like in 3 months, maybe my opinion will change when like I get like really good at recognizing like like she does like LOM Lumi and like you can like hear it from the sound cue which one it is. Or
I mean, you just do it from the instances.
Yeah, but like you can't, you know what I mean? Where it's like you if you stand somewhere and like she puts out Lumi and like you don't know if it's like
you don't know which one it is.
Yes, if it's the M1, you want to go closer to her. If it's the L1, you want to like
when it first appears, the M1's like further away from Vera, whereas the L1's closer.
Anyway, like so if you get better at recognizing that, you can probably like deny more screen space. So I can see like her dropping off over time.
Yeah,
but
I'm also making a lot of mistakes. Like I don't know, sorry to interrupt, but like I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I'm still making a lot of small mistakes against her, like against Lumi pressure in general, and I don't BC as much like at bad spots as I used to, but the experience level definitely isn't there to where, or I also haven't done the work in the lab to the point where I'm like, this is what I always want to do in this spot.
I think that is like important, but at the same time, what's the other thing? Right, I feel like the better the better the players get, the more matches are drawn out, and the longer the sets go, I feel like the better Vera gets.
Yeah.
So I feel like that favors her, and I know it's like hard to be like, oh, the potential of a character that gets like god tier once they get that install. But you do have
she
to
gets it
consider
off her super as well, so it's not like
yeah, not just off of a super, but also like off of a crouching hit.
Yeah, like
nowadays.
I mean, like other supers, you get the damage, and then like that's it, and you don't really have access to anything. Whereas like her, she does the super. It's like slightly less damage than you would on a regular super, but then you get access to being like the best character in the game, basically, which is nice.
She gets the U skill conversions without the meter, right?
Yeah. I used to put. I remember like when I made a tier list before Beatrix even came out, I put Vera quite low. And the reason I put her so low was that I thought there was too much tension between, wanting to use U skills and having access to install. And I agree with you, like, part of it is the nerfs in general that happened, like 60-cell nerf and stuff. But also people just getting better at the game has drawn out games a little bit, and that has benefited her a lot, I think,
I don't think a spacing trap is, like a spacing game is nice, because she also has like one of those like 6XLs, which doesn't travel as much. So BCing with a 6XL, which again will be more common next patch anyway, is a little awkward because she really like retracts, like she doesn't like go as far.
Yeah.
Which I like. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to acknowledge that like I do think Light doing well is just Light.
Yeah, 100%.
So because Vera doesn't have that strong of an identity as a character in terms of what she does. Like Light can do the same thing he does right now on her. Could do the same thing on Jita. Could do the same thing on Normaya. Could do the same thing on Saurus. Could do the same thing on Bersucia. Or Beatrix.
Yeah, and I also think she's probably rated a bit higher because of him.
And so like if all of those characters can do the same playstyle that he does right now, pretty much. And on all of them, like I think it would be similar in strength. But then you're looking below her, and I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Looking below her, Grant can't do that the same way. You all can't do that the same way. I don't think Zoe can do that the same way. And so I do think that that placement is good if you're looking at it that way.
I do think there's more going on to the character than is given credit for at the moment. I think it's very similar to Nam in the sense that she has a bunch of like really good tools, but nothing specific you can point out and say, well, that's broken, and that's the thing that like elevates her above all other characters.
I think Nam's clearly better. Like obviously better. I mean, I get Lumi Oki can be nice. It's nice to get like something more on space knockdowns, but I think if you know the knockdowns exactly, I mean, it's just at that point you're just playing against a character that gets good knockdowns, right? And
the best thing about Lumi,
the Lumi Oki, there's like a ton of stuff that comes from it as well, especially in the corner. There's so many.
I think
like,
the best thing about Lumi is that you
can't
can
do
like
anything
do
without it,
pressure.
basically.
Yeah, you can do pressure that is BC safe essentially, right?
Yeah, I know. I
think
agree
it's-
with that. I agree with that. And like, you get one throw spot a lot of the time that is harder to contest in other throw spots, and much riskier to contest in other throw spots.
Yeah, because Mash Tech will end you.
Yeah, and you can't just DP it because your opponent can do a hit without hitting you into the DP, right? So like with other people, you can just UDP if someone else tries to do it. So I understand there's like value there, but I don't think it makes up for like the tools that Narmaya has, or Jita. Again, like I think it's about the same. And all the top tiers are better, I think. So
I'd elevate Vera slightly. I mean, I think this is high in like most tier lists anyway, but even at this point, I would probably like go like a step further. But I've said why basically. Final point I was going to say earlier was like, even when like the distances that the L and M Lumi are going to go to, it covers like so much difference because it appears and then it moves forward, and like it's also a big hitbox in itself. It's like hard to deal with even if you know that as well. But that's beside the point. Points being made. Well,
and what I've seen more too is like, if you're trying to contest, like people like comboing over like into Lumi and then with it, right? Where it's like you're trying to contest, you get like pushed into it, or like they just DP, right? And then this was done before as well, but like people weren't actually like converting after Lumi hit. But now I'm actually like seeing that being consistently converted after, and that's really nice.
And the conversions can be created as well. It's just like all combo.
Yeah, like if Vera gets an
tournament.
aerial hit, it's so nice because 2 and 4H suddenly extends combos mid screen, right? So you can just go ham.
I'll just say that because she's the last of that kind, we consistently rate these like basic characters that are fast higher. I think UL is higher than on a lot of lists. I think Vera's higher than a lot of lists, and I think Narmaya is higher on all of lists. And Jita as well, actually, nowadays. So I think all 4 of those characters are rated slightly higher than you would see by the hive mind, by the list that I see online. And I think it's just because those things are especially valuable in tournament level play.
Yeah, and this is a consensus between the 3 of us list as opposed to each individual's opinion as well. So differences in that go. All right, we've got Bubs. Socky has to go to commentary in like 15 minutes probably or something. So try and finish this off.
20 minutes, people time.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the
we don't need.
If someone wants to
that much
check
time
it, they can check it. Like see if it's on the 4th or 5th set. But Bubs. Anyone want to talk about Bubs?
I'll let Socky go first.
I don't know. I feel like
Dana was in chat earlier.
See, the thing is, I usually put him next to Eustace, but I don't think he has like that volatile matchups. Like that's not like I don't think it's that like that is necessarily the thing for him that is the problem, right?
Yeah, I mean he's still. This is interesting. I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit because I think that I want to put him in volatile because of the way he plays, because he's essentially a zoner, right? Still, I mean, even though he has other stuff going on. But the matchup wise, I agree with you. Like the dive kick and the tools he has do normalize his matchups a bit. It's not as volatile as someone. It's the Zoe argument, right? Where it's
he's the one that makes other matchups volatile. Like he's the guy that
I feel like the volatility in Bub's matchups is bigger than people think it is.
Yeah, I would still put him in volatile, but I would say like in terms of the volatility, he's like.
Is he better than Eustace?
It's not about better or worse.
I would say.
For me, it's the tier right now. I'm just talking about the tier right now. I think he belongs in that tier.
Put him in the tier. Unless
I have to put him ahead of Eustace just because of Eustace's like really bad matchups. I think.
I don't think he loses to characters as hard as Eustace does. I mean, it's just he's more well-rounded. Like dive kick is always good. He's like his U skill game. Like he has more like, defensively. He has like different DPs. Obviously, they have all their downsides, but Eustace doesn't have a meterless DP at all. He has a he can escape the corner again. Like there's risk to it. That's why he's involatile. But like he has a way to get out of corner with 5U if the opponent overextends or is sleeping or something. Jump U is something that some characters struggle with, others don't. So
I
think-
have personal bias in feeling very comfortable in like most of the matchups I play against Bubs because of Matera and Seox. So I feel like I probably
yeah,
underrate
my
him more
character
than I
also
should.
does super well, right? I mean, Siegfried does super well against him. I haven't played it with Lucy. I assume he wins, but you know,
At least it's a
Siegfried
bit more
does very well
difficult, but
against him.
yeah, it's Lucy still.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think Lucy. You know, we said Lucy like destroys all zoners. I'm not sure that's necessarily the case against Bubs, but 'cause he's
The
like,
worst thing for Buzz probably is that he doesn't necessarily play the game as well as other characters does, because his 6XL game is really not good. Not particularly good. Like his 6XL itself is not bad, but like the reward he gets off the hit, it's kind of like, it's unironically like, I don't want to say as bad as Vayne 6XL game, but it's like if there's like a chart of like 6XL game that isn't that good, you heard like Grimnir would be like at the top, where it's like this character's really good, but it's like his 6XL game is like okay. And then in the middle would be Bubs, and like at the bottom would be like Vayne, right? Like this, like the three characters. Like it
yeah,
doesn't really reflect that well, but like that is the thing. They probably like don't do that well at all.
yeah,
despite
yeah. But
being
it's
there.
still a 6XL, right? So
Yeah.
it's like as bad as it is. Obviously, you're still supposed to press it. But I mean, yeah, I know. Like he struggles with converting at times. You know, like even if he hits you, sometimes he can't convert. Kind of like Eustace, but only that Eustace goes like way farther. And so there's definitely like an issue there. I mean, any character who like expects to deal most of his damage with like zoning and like preemptive special moves, is suffering against U skills in this game, right? So that inherently makes it volatile.
Yeah.
Dive kick's still one of the best specials in the game. Like defensively, offensively, it's like very versatile. You always have to think about it. You can even like dive kick out of, you know, like fuzzy jump and like dive kick stuff that you otherwise couldn't like defend against. So
Yeah.
that's clearly his biggest strength. That's the reason why he was top tier for most of base game. It was, I think, the dive kick. And so still a very good move.
Yeah. His command grab is also just really strong. Like having
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tool all the time, and it's
One of the better supers in the game, and the only one who gets it on the SPA, not the SSPA, which is very
yeah, and then
relevant.
taking a BP, I feel like makes a big difference. Like to compared to like even base game.
Yeah.
Like I feel like usually like it's like the one SPA where I'm like I'm okay getting hit by, like that you feel like that sometimes, but in this game I don't feel that way anymore because of the BP steal, right? So
Why is he keying all over the screen?
I'm just
Dudeakoff can't
just
hold
waiting.
it back anymore.
Just waiting.
Dudeakoff, go ahead. Tell us about Seox.
Tell me
but
where Seox wants.
we've left the best till last. It's Seox, the champion everyone loves and wants to see succeed, and hopefully will in the patch tonight. I guess I'm putting this one somewhere.
No, you're not. You're gonna show us, and if we disagree, we say no. I'm joking.
I think obviously he needs to be in this volatile tag if we're going to keep the volatile tag. He's not as consistent as the three characters above him when it comes to the matchups. Where he is placed on this, I would like personally put Eustace lower than you guys would, but I feel he is about equivalent to like Bubs Lancelot in this sense. I think he loses hard to Siegfried. I think he struggles against Catalina. Beatrix is fine. Lucilius is fine. So in terms of like the actual meta, in terms of like playing against good characters, like I think he's well suited. And I stated that at the start of the patch, and I still kind of believe it at this point. But you know, even though like there hasn't been as many like Siegfrieds knocking around as there was during like the first season because we've got a lot more character variety now. He's still struggling at the moment. The 14k is massive. He's a character that has to take risks in order to get his damage off. If he loses those risks, even if you try and minimize them by doing like air hits and that kind of thing, he's going to take a lot of damage. And his damage itself isn't like, he's not getting like hits all the time like a Grimnir or someone like, I mean, that's not the way I'd put it.
The thing is, he gets them more often off of 6XL nowadays, which definitely does less damage.
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to point on was like the like global nerfs have basically all been bad for him. Like he's a 6XL character and you're getting less damage on 6XLs. He was a character that was very reliant on his U skill stars with the J214U. The U skill nerf obviously hurts that. He still gets some U skills off with his like U dive in the corner, but that's not doing nearly as much damage now because of that. And there's also been the nerfs to the character itself, which is like the J214H nerf, which is increased recovery when he dives when he hits the ground, is one of the most frustrating ones to me, because there's times where you'll jump up, do the fireball, get the hit, and you'll land and you won't be able to punish, and sometimes you'll even be minus at times, which is super frustrating. I'm fine with all those nerfs, to be honest. The health nerf was incredibly frustrating because there's basically no way you can actually play around that. Like if one of your tools changes or becomes worse, you can like say, oh well, I can use this tool instead, or try and adapt my game plan in that way. With a health nerf, it's just like you are going to lose like 12% more of your matches now, and there's nothing you can do about that, which is frustrating. It sounds like I'm being really negative about the character, but yeah, as I said earlier, he's like really strong meta-wise. I feel he has like decent matchups against most of the top tiers that other people in the same bracket as him don't have. But he is like obviously a super volatile character, and you can lose to the most random stuff in tournament because of it, and it's frustrating, but that's where I stand.
I think obviously I don't have to main him, so you know it's gonna feel differently when you play him yourself. I think like I feel like his game plan is like able to be consistent, right? Because he gets to, it's like Grimnir, but instead of engaging with the air dashes, you're engaging with yourself, which is obviously worse. You know, but you can play this in and out game with him, where you're engaging with EX Rekka, you're engaging with 6XL. He's fast, so he gets to usually. He's better at 6Ling you than your opponent is at 6Ling him, even though your opponent gets more reward if he does, if he does hit you. And so that 2-1-4H is still a really good move. And so because of that, I felt like you can kind of play this in and out game where you're like, you do your thing, it works or it doesn't, you leave. And I mean that is kind of how you play, right? Yeah. And that seems like it's a consistent game plan that works against most characters.
Yeah.
Obviously some people, Siegfried is an issue because if you hold forward at half screen, you're going to get 2-1-4H. He has the fireball. Like if you decide, oh, now I'm going to go in and you do I do EX fireball, I get a knockdown. You do 2-1-4H in the air and I DP, right? So those are the issues. But I don't see other characters be able to stop him in a straightforward way. So wouldn't that make the game plan consistent? I mean, he's a volatile character because of 14k. Right, so even because if you fuck up or your opponent gets the right read or something, you die. But the game plan and how you approach every match is still consistent and similar, right?
Yeah.
Or would you disagree with that?
I think that's kind of why he plays well with the top tier. Well, most of the top tiers is because he has a consistent way of playing. I don't think you can play the slop Seox nowadays. It was a lot better to play pre-patch, and even if you had 16k now, it would be a pretty bad way of playing Seox, but you'd still get away with it a lot more because of that. The main issue is that it was I was talking about earlier with Luane, in the sense that it's a game where when you play the majority of people in this game, if you do a really long set with someone in the old game, you could go first to 50 and lose 53 because the other player is just a lot better player than you. But in this game, you're going to trade wins here and there. You're going to be at 7-3 against someone who's you're clearly a lot better than. They're still going to get 3 games in those 10 games, and that plays into how Seox plays against other characters, because you'll be doing equivalent in terms of the reward that you're in terms of the hits that you're getting and the reads that you're making with someone else, but because of the less health at that point, you lose the game despite the fact that you're kind of equal in terms of what you're doing. And there isn't really anything that makes up for the lack of health, you getting hits more often, or you getting damage more often. You could argue with a 6XL game, obviously Seox is better at that than a lot of other characters, so he gets hits that way. But on top of the universal changes to 6XL and the damage that you get from it, that kind of thing, I've been thinking about the health a lot more. Like that's why I came up with Luane as well. And like there are a lot of times where you're playing Seahawks and you're playing against someone and you feel like you did more and played better than them, but you lost because of like you just having less health at that point, which is frustrating. But I think it is a consistent game plan. I think in tournaments it's not so much we've got the volatile matchups, volatile game plan. He's definitely on the volatile matchup side of that. But the three characters ahead of him, Charlotte, Ajita, and Vera, they're a lot more consistent. And in terms of you're not going to get knocked out of tournament as randomly as the characters below them, and that includes Seahawks, in my opinion. I've kind of done this all off the top of my head, by the way. So
it's
a stream of consciousness type thing.
I'm not sure I fully agree. Like, should he have 14k? No, I don't agree with that. Even though I like the concept.
I'm fine with it if it was like start of the game, like when he first came out, he was a 14k health character. It's just like midway through when you've already like committed to the character, and like you've changed that, and
I like the idea. I like the idea of a glass cannon, but I don't think I don't think he quite got buffed enough to make up for the 14k. The way I'm thinking about it is like, if he was well balanced, like I don't know what that means. I guess if he was like in the second tier, like maybe in a perfect world everyone is in the second tier, or I guess everyone is in the third or fourth tier. But point is, if he was just as good as everyone else, then the risk he's taking is appropriate to the reward, right? And so that means he hits you 3 times and you hit him twice, or something like that, and then the health works out, right? And so I'm not sure that's true, but I also think it's kind of like, I do think it's easy to forget that you get the hit easier than me. Well, I mean, not on Siegfried, but
I feel like
Normaya or something. Like it's harder for Normaya to hit you than for Seahawks to hit Normaya, 100%, right?
I feel like putting Vera that high because of her speed, and then putting Seahawks below her is.
But she's way more consistent.
But like he's even faster. He's so fast.
He's slightly faster, and it's
like I feel like playing neutral against him. It's like
the walk speed is like similar.
You're kind of accepting that he's probably gonna hit you, or that you can't like keep him out, or that you will have to play this game with him, but you will win because you do more damage.
No, like he has volatile, but you're being volatile with him.
Yeah. I feel like I get it. He's definitely, if we would put him in the good Charlotte, he's definitely like the most volatile of the two. But of all of these, but I would rather, I don't know. I think he definitely like
you throw out a Firelight as Catalina against like a Seahawks running in, and then you get that counter hit on the 6XL into 2M into like 2-3-6U, and then he's fucking dead at that point. I get the 6XL, it's like 15-20% damage, and then I have to like go into the corner and play that game, and then I have to take even more risks in order to actually get damage in the corner.
But Vera hits far medium into 2-1 for L. Like it's the same thing. Jita hits like far H into maybe 2-1 for H if he's close enough, right? Well, like or far medium 2-1 for H or something.
And that's like the Vera's like 6XL into like 2-1 for H into Lumi is better than like Seahawks not getting the wall bounce into like 2-3-6 hit.
But he usually gets the wall bounce, so that's the thing. It's like the corner carry on it is kind of not.
Yeah, it really gets in sense, but.
What Vera can't do is jump to 1 for H and then walk behind it. And I understand that got worse, but like you still have like this tool
and then you don't have your best tool on pressure at that point. You have there's like no threat.
I mean, I agree. You lose your pressure reset,
it's just strike throw, and you can't really reset at any time like you can with other characters if you don't have 2-1.
But Vera can't reset either. I mean, not well. Right.
No, I mean, we just talked about her playing that game where she's like just outside and able to like create spacing traps or like just like put them out and that kind of thing, which Sid kind of.
I mean, the comparison falls short because they're not the same kind of character, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this comes across as me just like whining about the character at the point. But my primary point is that like if it was like if Seahawks was low health in the previous game, like that would matter a lot less because. Like the skill gaps were more prominent, and if you were the better player, you would win like 99 times out of 100. Whereas in this game, like there is a lot more trading of hits and trading of like trading of like turns and that kind of thing, where like you as a better player aren't like trying to perfectly shut out the other person. What you're trying to do is take the least risky options a lot of the time and then adapt based on what your opponent's doing. And that still involves taking a lot of damage a lot of time and losing some rounds a lot of the time. There's so many times where you watch like the better player lose the first game then win the next 3, as I said earlier. And
of course.
Because of like that volatility within this game, like the health nerf is like much more significant than it would be in like some other games. Is my primary point. And
I mean, if he was designed as a lower health character from the start, he would just play differently, right? Like, I mean, he would have like other things to mitigate that, I think. I don't know. Like, outside of Charlotta can do this, but like, I don't see Seox. Like, Seox can put you in the corner round start and kill you there, despite PC existing. Despite UDP existing, like I'm not saying it's like flawless offense or something, or like he's not taking any risks, but you can't just fuzzy mash on a safe jump, and just be like, okay,
fuzzy mash, like
a
bunch of
and so
in this game. Cagliostro can do the same thing, kill you with a throw.
Yeah, I know, but they're all higher, right?
Yeah. But that's why you want to put him. That's why it's kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why I want to put him one higher, right? I want to put him one higher because I'm looking at the other characters here. Luane, Lance, like they don't do this shit. And obviously they're not 14k, but I mean, no one's saying that he's.
I do think he's better than those. Like I feel like Lance, you can do a comparison, but I would still put Seox ahead, and I'd definitely put him above Luane. Still downplay Luane to some extent. Definitely better than Eustace. Probably better than Bubs. On balance of things, but I feel like the 3 characters ahead. Like I'd put Charlotte like lower than the other 2, but I would say they're better than Seox.
Yeah, I mean, I think to wrap the stream up, I would suggest that we just vote on the order real quick.
Yeah, you guys can do that. I actually have to leave because they already finished.
Sorry, my bad. I took all the time with this Seox yapping. My bad.
No, you guys can just keep going.
We'll finish it off. It's fine. I also knew that they were on the 5th set as well, and I still did this. So I was very self-indulgent.
Sockycast without Socky.
Gamers, you don't get mad. Like they will finish up the tier list. I will internally look over it, and if it's cool, then we will post it. Bots will go live. We post them at some time on the Promenade Discord, the Promenade YouTube. Right, that's where the votes end up happening. Votes? What am I talking about? The VOD will
vote
be
now for your favorite tier list.
Vote now for your favorite yapper. Anyway, would be cool if we could do this again. I don't know when the next episode would be. I don't think I will have enough time before the finals. So if anything, it's probably going to be after the finals. Would be kind of cool.
Wrap up stream for the final. That's good.
We might invite like all the players who went.
Invite the European that wins.
Yeah, might be cool.
So
I hope you guys
like
for
a second week in a row. Crazy.
These fellas will. Damn, it's crazy. I mean, Fitizen will be on every week.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway,
special guest.
These 2 will finish it up, clean up the tier list a little bit. Character strengths. We maybe not have gone on that too much, but I feel like it was still a productive.
I tried to speed things up, and it felt like it was just distracting from
I'll be honest, the 2-hour thing, I don't know what I was thinking. I knew in my heart of hearts that was not happening. It's not my fault, bro.
But yeah, enjoy your commentary gig. Enjoy yapping for a further 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh my god. I would hate that right now.
Bro, I love yapping. Yeah. Dudeakoff, once you guys are finished, rate weekly, so we'll see you guys there anyway.
Yeah, we'll do. Don't worry.
Thanks, gamers.
I mean, honestly, let's just do the obvious stuff that we strongly feel about, and then like Socky can look over it. He can like do his ordering. I personally, since I'm valuing volatility lower.
I thought you were doing like higher, kind of in ahead of the consistency.
No. What I mean is like for the top tiers, for the best characters. I think I care more about. I don't care about I care more about consistency than volatility. So like I think Lucy should definitely be ahead of Zeta. I think I would want to give Zeta the nod to stay in the top tier and not 1 down. But
I'd drop her 1 down, but it's not much difference there, to be fair.
I'm not sure how we can have Socky be the tiebreaker. I personally think Beatrix belongs over Siegfried, but I'm biased probably. It's just how I feel.
I hate Siegfried, but I can't really.
Once again, Socky can be the tiebreaker. Like
I'm not disagreeing with that one, so go for it.
Yeah. If we disagree, I'll just let Socky be the tiebreaker. Socky can decide who gets higher. I do think Belial and Cat are top 3. I think if you want to put Grimnir below Beatrix and Siegfried, or even Lucy, I think that's defensible. I don't think putting Grimnir below Zeta is defensible, or in the lower tier. So it's like
I'm a Grimnir player, unfortunately, so don't have to worry about that.
Well, then I would keep the top 3 as is. Belial's top 1. Between Grimnir and Cat, I don't feel strongly. It's like, either.
If I'm forced to make a choice, I put Grimnir second, but
yeah,
I'm fine either way.
I mean, see, like, I would always play Cat over Grimnir, so I value that kind of thing higher. That doesn't mean I put her higher, but I personally would play Cat over Grimnir. So
that's fair.
So I think like that looks good to me. For tops, you can downplay. The Versusia is like as strong as she clearly is. I don't feel confident in that placement, but I also don't want to change it.
This is like pretty.
It's vibes. That's
standard.
Vibes
this is a really standard Versusia place to be. Like probably ahead of Percival a lot of the time, but not really much difference.
I feel strongly that 2B is better than the characters below her.
I had like my own tier list where I kind of knocked down like some of these ones at this side. Obviously, and Soros wasn't there, given what I've said previously, but
I mean, I think Narmar and Soros are similar in the sense that like they have some really unique upsides that warrant playing them, that are like less obvious than someone like Hag and 2B and Versusia. Like those 3 characters, like it's obvious what's good about them. With Narmaya and Soros, it's like, am I not just playing a worse Bea? And I don't think so. I think they have unique strengths that are worth playing, even if they're worse overall. Uno, we talked about this earlier. I don't think we should change that. It seems like Socky wanted him there too. So I guess we 2 for 1.
That's fine.
You.
Yeah, I mean, people know how
Charlotta,
it's fine.
Yeah, and the Charlotta tier, I also would put her lower. But that's because of what I value in a character, right? I would always want to play Jito or Vera above her. That doesn't mean that she's not as good or maybe better than one of them. Socky rates are higher than me, I think.
But
I also think that
talking himself into Charlotte as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's like she sucks, but she always does better than she should. Like, I get it. I mean, we can go. Anyone can like check the VODs and see his rant on Charlotta. I agree with what he's saying, but I'm not 100% convinced. So, see, like, if it was up to me, I might even put her 1 lower, but it's okay. I don't mind having her there, I do think Jita and Vera belong here.
I'm fine with that.
So we can change the name to, like...
I mean, that's just a pun on good Charlotte, so you can change it to whatever you want.
Yeah, it's just like... It's like, I mean, what it is they lose to top tiers, but not that hard, right? And so, like, generally speaking, obviously, don't shoot me. I know Vera loses to Siegfried. So I think it's hard to say. Like, stable. I don't know. Stable is kind of a bad term. Tournament viable. I mean, we could introduce the line.
The end of the line.
But, I mean, I would put the line. See,
I put Xerox above the line as well.
Yeah.
Actually,
so I would put Xerox. I would put Xerox 1 higher and set the line there. That's me personally. But
I think Bubs is tournament viable.
Bubs over the line. I mean, solo main. I mean, okay. Here's the thing, right? It's about matchups. It's about like when someone is below the line, that doesn't mean they literally can't win a tournament. Vitera can win a tournament if she runs into like,
she almost did.
Yeah, I mean,
and she beat Beatrix. It's crazy.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, I don't think that should usually happen. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that should usually happen. But obviously, like, anyone can win a matchup. Like, if you find the right matchups, anyone can win a tournament. If you're like just that good on that day, anyone can win a tournament. It's about if you should expect to do so. Like, if there's like an expectation. If you're the best player, and you play that character, should your expectation be that you win that? And I think if you're playing a character below the line, it's not just about being the better player. It's also about getting lucky, you know. And that's not something I would want to rely on. Like, I think everyone above the line, if you're the best player, you're the favorite to win the tournament. Yeah, I think kind of that's how I feel, you know.
I don't know. But, I think there is a point to be made about like
it is more complicated. I mean, Shiro's like saying, you know, it's like
how come every Seahawks player no longer is doing well in tournaments after the Seahawks?
I mean, Kag stands out in that list as someone who has like Kag is the highest character on that list with bad matchups. I think, you know, clearly bad matchups.
Yeah,
maybe alongside Soros, you know, and it's so, you know, it's difficult, but like I think it's easier for Kag to dodge.
We're literally talking about Seahawks now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's easier to dodge like 3-4 bad matchups with Kag than it is to dodge 8 bad matchups with, you know, Vasaraga or something.
Yeah.
That's and the severity of them. Like Kag at least still has like all these unique tools. You can like set up a situation. I mean, I got perfected by Kag in tournament, right? It's like you can set up a situation. Either I mess up or you know, like she gets into the right position where now the right read is going to deal a lot of damage, and like she can, you know, that can make it happen. Someone like Bubs, I don't think has the same potential, you know, but yeah.
It's weird because like, you know, like the strong but volatile tier that we got here, they have to like, well, most of them have to like dodge certain matchups and get lucky in order to win a tournament, whereas like the mid-tier consistent tier, like I would say, like I think they can win a tournament. It's just that you have to like consistently slightly gap everyone that you run into.
You have to be slightly better than everyone, which is unreasonable. Like you can't just expect to be the best.
Rather than it all being concentrated in one like round or whatever, it's concentrating, like it's spread out across the entire event.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I would put the line. I still think Six should be on one higher, but.
Well, I'll put him there just because like Socky definitely agrees with you as well. I mean,
end of the line. He's the end of the line. Sirix is the end of the line. I agree with this actually. I think that's where he belongs in that tier at least. You know, he's not higher, not lower, in my opinion.
You think? Yeah. I mean, I can talk to you about it later. Cause I'm gonna stop going on about it. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. Then within that tier, if we're ordering the next tier, I think it's really hard. I don't feel comfortable, really. It's because they're so different, you know. Eustace has upsides and downsides. This is like they're like a bunch of like clowns. I wouldn't order this tier personally because I don't feel like I can't say like, oh, Vasaraga belongs above Bubs. Like I can't say that with confidence. And Shiro, if you're tuning in late, we talked a bunch about how Vasaraga is the least informed placement on the whole list, you know, for sure.
Yeah, we literally said if you got good Vasaraga.
You just can't rate the character well, you know. So we're just going by vibes and what we think, how we would play if we played against them. So, yeah, the consistent mid tier, I like UL. I would put UL higher. I would put UL at the top of that tier.
I'm completely okay with that. I would agree as well.
Yeah, Gran and Zoe. I mean, I'm not sure.
I'm happy with Zoe ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel strongly about those two. I do hope that Zoe makes it to over the line next patch. I would like to see her a bit more.
Yeah, costume. Things looking good.
Not just because of that, but yeah, the costume is gonna help probably. Not bottom tier bottom characters. I generally agree with this, right? Like.
Looks fine to me.
Socky...
I put Anila down one, but
same. I would also put Anila down one. Actually, put her down. That's two for one. 2 to 1, right?
Let's go. I finally won one.
I don't like that one. Yeah. Does anyone else have to go higher? I mean, Abel is essentially a with robbery potential. Yeah, it's same. I don't want to do it. I don't feel that strongly about it. We're talking about tournaments again. Like in tournament, Abel. Not the coolest pick to make, I think, you know, if you're trying to win consistently. But he has the like the volatility that also helps him like go up, right? So
yeah,
like to upset people. you know.
Yeah, you seen us like
So, and I mean, we just saw it, you know, like Space and Wanted lost to Usagi on Able, and it was not a case like Space clearly didn't know the matchup that well, but still, I mean, it shows that you know you can make something happen with the character in the right situation. Of course, Kag is also not one of the characters that Able like cries the most about.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
I guess the question is if anyone should go one up.
I think I put Ladira up one up originally. The other characters, I'm fine with their placement. I don't think anyone agrees with me on Ladira though. So
if I had to put, I mean, I can see it. It's just I'm not claiming to be well informed on Ladiva. For the Nier, it's like if I had to put one of those 6 characters up, it would be Nier. But we don't. Tiers don't need to all have the same sizes, so.
Well, we can switch it to here to make people feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, Socky would probably have a head against Ladiva, but whatever.
Yeah, I think yeah, probably against Ladiva. I think Vayne and... I mean, if we made another tier, which we won't, because, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but I think Vayne and Vikala would be the first to go down. And so the order is definitely... I think, like, putting Fairy and Anilla next to Vayne and Vikala is almost misleading to me, you know, but...
I mean, like, Vayne had his own tier last, like, patch, and I don't think that gap exists anymore in terms of Vayne and other characters.
Yeah, also, he's the Grimnir stopper, so that's got to count for something.
The one use. The pocket pick.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with this. So we can have Socky go over it and mostly decide on what was it? Beatrix Siegfried's order. He can decide that one.
Yeah. I can try and convince him about Tenoxiox down the line, but you know.
He has the tiebreaker. I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
I'm not going to. From the sound of things, I try my best.
I also think we're kind of just assuming that Percy is supposed to be the highest and tops you can downplay, which I'm not sure about. But
yeah, we didn't really talk about it. That's actually like a surprising place for him on Tierlist. Like usually he'd be in the Kag Namaya mix.
Yeah, the issue is I trust Koji Koko, who thinks highly of the character, and I trust that Toro isn't just blindly in love with the character, but actually wants to win. And you know, even though as much as it's like Toro gapping, of course, to some degree, he does have the results. So
yeah, I can definitely see it, but I think my personal one would be a bit low, but I'm not too fussed about it. Like I'm not going to pretend to be a Percy expert. Like I've played the matchup a shitload, or played the character at all, so that's fine. But yeah,
so I think I would wrap it up with this.
Yeah, any changes to the actual names of the list? Because I just kind of like was fucking around with them while people were
let's make those when Socky's like in chat, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I would change the last two, but
well,
I don't know.
Screen cap this one before we change the name of it, so you can call whoever loses to one of these characters in Actor finals out on it when that happens.
You can call it just downplayable. Sounds better than tops you can downplay because they're not on top. So, but yeah,
that's a bit less. But yeah, oh no, it doesn't fit. Oh, well,
it's also the name doesn't quite fit because Zeta is definitely downplayable, 100%. So
yeah, we spent mostly doing.
Okay, but yeah, let's wrap it up. Send them over. I'm gonna go eat.
And then we can draw a funny line there. Let me transition back to the Vivi picture.
Yeah, I do want to draw a line.
Socky's still here, but he's completely mute.
But you have to call it the Fitizen line, please.
Yeah, I mean you've trademarked it.
I've trademarked.
I do not want to get sued, so I'm quite happy to do that. It's no longer the Sockycast; it's the Dudeakoff. I have finally taken over the Sockycast. It only took 4/5 of the episode to do so. But yeah, that was a long one.
Yep.
Any final thoughts? You're coming on after the World Tour when you win it. I'm sorry.
It's like way too long. Like I'm paid by the hour, by the way.
I mean that all goes through Socky. Yeah? Like he's the one with all the money. He won 200 in the event last weekend. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll ask him about it later. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Thanks a lot for having me. Seriously, it's cool. I think it's fun that we can yap about this. If the VOD is uploaded somewhere, we should timestamp based on characters, so people don't have to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because people just want to know what what we're saying about their characters.
Yeah, even though this this specific screen looks like professional and we got all set up and stuff, this was really like fly by night. So maybe next time we have like a proper structure and try and stick to a time limit and have less to yap about. If we did another tier list, it would probably like do part 1, part 2, maybe that would make more sense.
Yeah, one of you needs to be the moderator, but you'll figure it out.
I had an attempt at it, but like it's sort of like it felt bad to be saying like, "Oh, show up about these characters" when we just yapped about like half the cast. But
yeah, who cares what they call it? Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, but it's like Socky is like feels very strongly she's not bad. But anyway,
yeah,
that was it.
Anyway,
this is the end of the Dudeakoff. Thank you for joining
Thanks
us.
a lot.
Hope you.
Bye bye,
Fitty. I guess I'll do the outro by myself. That's fine. Yeah, that was the Dudeakoff / Sockycast with Dudeakoff with special guest Fitizen. We did a tier list. We were primarily doing it just to, so people can get like perspectives on different characters from 2 of the top players in the region plus me. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the game. My player might suggest otherwise, but we shall see. Hope everyone enjoyed the Seox down player. I didn't mean to be that down on him. I still think he's a really good character. That's why I still play him. But yeah. Anyway, this will be up on YouTube. Oh yeah, I have to do that as well. Like, yeah, we had some subscriptions during the thing, which was really appreciated. Thank you for that. I already shouted Scoop in chat, but shout outs to Scoopster again for the gift to a riot. I don't know if him getting banned affects that in any way, but he's unbanned now, so hopefully that's fine. Thanks for the sub from Kogata, from Pepe, and Tiramisu as well. Appreciate it. No, it was a good time. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. I'm going to have you raid the obvious answer, which is Socky continues to yap on the Hard Edge Weeklies. So I'm going to send you over there. I will post the art that Viva created lovingly. It's very good. Socky was like very much involved in like all the little editing process as well, which was fun. But yeah, that's it. I have clicked the raid button, so I have to wait 5 seconds. We'll see you next time, probably for a post Arc World Tour final stream, which will probably only be 2 hours, hopefully. I shall try and keep a Socky in check next time. But yeah, goodbye. Bye-bye.
I hope Dudeakoff and Fetty didn't light the studio on fire.
They absolutely did. I don't even want to look at the tier list after Dudeakoff got done with it.
Oh, I know.
That being said, welcome to the weeklies. Currently we have Fusi with Henka. Henka is on set point, but Fusi, he wants to not let that happen.
I didn't know.
Interesting freestyle combo.